God has been gracious. He's blessed us with another day. Well, we call it Friday or Vendredi if you speak Spanish. Actually, Vendredi is French. Well, here we go. It's a Friday and I'm raring to go. I don't know about you, but welcome aboard the AM show with Sweetie Abochi and yours truly. Now, coming up next, we'll serve you the news, and right after that, guess who joins us for the news review? William Ofosu Asante is NPP's parliamentary candidate, Tongu Constituency, and Julian Kobina. He is with the NDC's manifesto group. He's the spokesperson on youth development. Both of them will join us for the news review, followed by sports. It's going to be another prime take installment with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. And after that, today I'm talking about the environment. My focus is there. And yesterday, like you remember, when I asked the government spokesperson on governance and security, Dr. Paul Grieve-Wachidankwa, you say we should name and shame whom? And I started mentioning names. He didn't want to go there. So today, I'll be talking in my blunt thoughts about what we are doing in terms of galamsey and how stark the situation is. Look forward to that. Then we get into our big stories. With just 86 days until this year's general election, the race between parliamentary aspirants across the 275 constituencies of the country is intensifying. It's grinding. Constituents are making demands, expecting candidates to address their concerns. Now, this morning, our constituency lens is focusing on the Central Tongu Constituency, where the two leading aspirants on the tickets of the MPP and the NDC clash over who has the expertise required to lead the constituency. Well, joining us in the studio for a debate are the parliamentary candidates for the MPP and the NDC, Godwin Ayikpa and Alexander Roosevelt Hotoje. You don't want to miss that straight fight. Not a fight in literal terms, but a fight in terms of ideas and what the way forward is for Central Tongu. Later, we'll offer you the opportunity of having your say. What's the show without you? So join us with your thoughts via the phone lines and on our social media handles. When we activate the phone lines, be sure to call. But for now, I invite you to stay with us as we serve you the news up next. Welcome to the news this morning. And in our first story, some fishermen from the western and central regions have voiced their frustrations, accusing President Akufo-Addo, his vice, the Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service, and the Commander of the Armed Forces of standing idle as Ghana's water resources are ravaged by galamsey. They claim that rampant illegal mining is not only polluting the country's rivers, but also threatening their livelihoods as the fishing industry bears the brunt of the environmental destruction. The fishermen addressed the media at the estuary of the Pra River in the western region, pleading for urgent action. John Quayson addressed the media.
All of us standing here are fishermen. We are currently standing at the estuary where the Pra River meets the sea at Shama. The galamsey activities have increased, and this is affecting our fishing work. The journalists in this country have been talking about it, yet there are no actions. Look at the color of the water now. The fishermen do not get fish because the water has been polluted.
IGP and Sana Sojani Paina Odano on one no one the man which wrote today. Why my follow Yalukum? It's a why a kamikaze airport. You want my room? You want my room? Yenu sume biena wako unyashe na teje nsuya na chede nsu ni wako akogbo april oya kamika so say e dey nsu mbo otoya nti ogbo fra baka nsu nim
The sea is now full of chemicals. This has caused the fishes to disappear. We heap all the blames on the president, his vice, the IGP, and the commander of the army for all this. We are in our fishing season, but when we go, we return with empty nets.
Yes, sir.
The country cannot progress if we continue to do this. We are pleading for the galamsey to be halted so we can take care of our family. This is our pension. We don't have anything else. The silence of the president, his vice, the IGP, and the military commander is deafening. They should come out to act if they know within their hearts that they are not involved in the galamsey.
Dr. Maunu Maumia, Omampaina Berechi, Sagalamse Untubia, IGP Dampale, Galamse Intubia. So the Fina will pay now your bambodo. What I'm saying to be one out to Macassa. Nagalam saying won't to be. Only the wood to be into why is he Magalam saying all quadrant. The men pay fine and Galam said would to be. Until why is he Nagalam saying all quadrant. Kakam Wamakai.
Let's turn our gaze to health now. The presidential advisor on health, Dr. Nsiasari, has poo-pooed suggestions that the new Patriotic Party government has not added a single bed to any hospital since they came into power 7.5 years ago. He cited several projects, including the Yoruba D-Invest project, which was started during the Kufuor administration, but was abandoned by the Mahama administration, that they are now completed and operating. Now, speaking at the 3-day annual conference of the Association of Health Service Administrators Ghana, ADRAPA, he revealed that the Agenda 111 hospital projects would be commissioned before the end of the year. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from DRAPA.
The 47th Annual Conference and Continuing Professional Education of the Association of Health Service Administrators Ghana was held on the theme Implementation of Networks of Practice towards Achieving Universal Health Coverage, the role of the Health Service Administrator. Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Nsiasari, proposed suggestion from opponents of the government that the MPP government has not added a single bed hospital in their 7.5 years reign in power.
We've completed 6 of the 9 stalled abandoned Eurojet health sector projects initiated by His Excellency President J. Kufuor in April 2008. We have finished the Ga East Municipal Hospital at Kwabinya. We've completed the Wa Regional Hospital here in Wa. We've completed in Soko District Hospital in Tain. We've completed the Tepa District Hospital. We've completed the Chufupraso Hospital. We've completed Konongo Odumase District Hospital. These are 6. And I'm happy to also announce the 250 Ashanti Regional Hospital at Sewia will be commissioned, inshallah, next month.
Dr. Nsiasari disclosed that before the end of the year, hospitals under the Agenda 111 project will be commissioned.
Fortunately, 100 of the 104 district hospitals have started. They are in the ranges of 5%. Some of them have just started to, as at the first week of August, some of them have reached 87.5%. So presently, Anderson is getting to about 90%. Now, Chair, I will stand here boldly and say that before the year comes to an end, we shall commission and put to use Agenda 111 hospitals across the country.
He also spoke of plans by the government to employ 70,000 health professionals.
Upon the completion of the Agenda 111 projects, I'm happy to announce that we have done the human resources plan. We will be employing 70,000 health professionals, including health service administrators. It is therefore undeniable that health service administrators will be one of the key staff to be recruited under this arrangement.
President of the Association of Health Service Administrators Ghana, Reverend Ezekiel Amadou Deribi, underscored the important role played by health service administrators, describing them as the backbone of the service.
An administrator, we must continually engage in knowledge sharing, mentorship, and collaboration within these systems and policies. When we share best practices, innovative solutions, and lessons learned, we need to strengthen our ability to provide quality healthcare services to our people, amongst others.
Executive Director of Christian Health Association of Ghana, Dr. Peter Yeboah, spoke among others the benefits they will derive from the implementation of networks of practice.
It is about cooperation, not conflict. It's about partnership, not partisanship. It's about coming together. There's also a benefit of creating an effective environment where we would look at task sharing and task shifting amongst key actors. NLP is about facilitating mutual operational and technical support for all actors, promoting mentorship so that we can have coherent, cohesive, and seamless service provision to everyone in an environment.
Our Power Minister Stephen Yakubu's speech was read on his behalf by Coordinating Director at the Upper Sudan Coordinating Council, Joseph Aburi.
Peace is a public responsibility, and therefore, I beseech all of you not to lend your efforts at ensuring peace. I urge all of you to individually and collectively reach peace before, during, and after December 2024 general elections.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam, Jiruba.
And of course, Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. The Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, that is CIMA, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, ICPA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness, and Beauty. Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Braid Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development. Let's talk about the filing of nominations now. And Exim Bank CEO Lawrence Agyinsim and National Chairman of the Premix Fuel Committee, Dennis Percy Kwaku, have pledged transformative development for their constituencies if elected. Mr. Agyinsim, now the MPP's parliamentary candidate for the Heman Lower Denchura constituency, and Percy Kwaku, the MPP's candidate for the Komenda Edina Egwafu Ebirim constituency, expressed their commitment to making a lasting impact should they be given the mandate to serve. Both candidates have outlined ambitious plans to uplift their respective areas and drive meaningful progress. The second day of the nomination exercise also saw the emergence of an independent candidate for the Cape Coast South constituency, Isaac Menu. The candidates and their representatives have been speaking to Joy News.
Saliu Smaila, the constituency organizer and the personal assistant to Mr. Lawrence Agyinsim. And he has always said this to you, the media, to the electorate, and to the constituents, that he has come primarily for the purpose of transforming Heman Lower Denchura constituency in the area of jobs for the youth, in the area of making sure the good people of Heman Lower Denchura who primarily indulge in farming. He's just looking at making sure that we have, to a large extent, good roads to be able to plow on, so that the farmers, the constituents, and everybody who works in this constituency will be able to work with ease. Now, once you have a good road, okay, it attracts investors. And so, by primarily getting the good roads, we are hoping, and he is hoping, that it will attract a lot of good investors to be able to come to Heman Lower Denchura, just as he has started on his own, okay, to start industries, to start hotels that has employed a lot of people in the constituency. We're asking everybody to be united. Yes, we went for primaries. Many of those are the people who might have offended others. We are using this medium to appeal to every constituent to be able to forgive ourselves and make sure and understand that it was just a contest, and we all went through that.
Today marks the long-awaiting MPP parliamentary candidature Inshallah. Of Commander Edina Egwafu Ebirim, that the EC and the entire party leadership has confirmed me indeed as the candidate.
Say it again.
And so I submitted the necessary document, and I can confidently tell the entire constituent and everybody that I am official candidate of the MPP in KA.
Thank you.
I've been preaching, creating opportunities for the young people, and that is what we need at the moment. I mean, we have a lot of young people who, for some reason, I'll not say economic challenges, but the challenges at home. They find it difficult to either learn a trade or even get employment. And so my coming is just to, help, solve some of these challenges.
I would like to go as an independent candidate in that the way our politics has been in this country, either you are for MPP or for NDC. So I've seen that in terms of development, because of the partisanship nature of our politics, where the people are not getting the development need of the people. So I've decided to go as an independent so that I'll be there for everyone. The secret is that people are fed up with both parties, the NDC and the MPP, and the other political parties. People are now interested in an independent candidate.
Now, 3 female presidential aspirants filed their nominations on Thursday to contest in the 2024 elections, bringing the total number of candidates to 14 by the end of the 3rd day. Among the independent candidates is Janet Nabila, the former General Secretary of the PNC, who chose to run independently after her new party, the People's National Party, that is the PNP, failed to meet the registration requirements. There's more in this report.
The 3 female presidential aspirants are Nana Frimpong Kumakuma of the CPP, Ghana Freedom Party, GFP Sekwadonko, and Janet Asana Nabila, former PNC General Secretary, who was expected to file for another political party, People's National Party, but ended up filing as an independent candidate.
We started, that was in April. To us, we're thinking that by now the processes should be done because number one, Electoral Commission asks us for a party headquarters. They asked about a constitution. They told us to provide them with our regional and national executives. They told us to provide them 262 district founders. They asked us to pay 40,000 Ghana cedis. They asked us to establish 16 regional offices across the country, to which we did with with haste. We did all these things, but then they told us that they are busy. Some of the things they were supposed to do, they couldn't do it. And for that matter, we can file as an independent candidate whilst the processes still go on. We are not happy about it, but then, because we are not happy at all about it. But then,
she also expressed concerns about the rigorous nature of the process.
In the history of this country, it has never happened before that the Electoral Commission will give a discount just to encourage people to contest. I
hope the press is hearing this one. This should be a highlight. This should be a highlight.
So let me use this opportunity to thank the Commission. Let me also register something that I think that maybe moving forward we should look at. Look at the number of leaflets in front of you. We have to run around the whole 262 districts to get this. And they are supposed to write them in quadruplets. In the 21st century, we are now in a not even Gen Z world, Gen Alpha world, where digitalization is supposed to be the hour of the day. Yet we have to do all these things. We are pleading with the Commission.
Nana Frimpong Kumakuma is rallying support for a female president on December 7.
It is my belief and hope that as the woman, one of the women, and the first woman to stand for the Convention People's Party, is going to be there for all young people across the nation and everyone who has a dream and who believes in Ghana to be able to get up and do what is right for the nation.
The GFP Sekwadonko is hopeful that the EC chair would deliver a successful election 2024. Filing of nominations for the December election ends this Friday, with 14 candidates filing so far, and at least 8 more candidates expected to file on deadline day. James Aveji, Joy News.
Now, the National Democratic Congress in the Northern Region is alleging that the Electoral Commission is covering up officers who allegedly conducted illegal transfers of some voters from Tamale to Pusiga in the Upper East region. According to the party, the Electoral Commission is not cooperating with the police to help fish out these individuals. The Northern Regional Secretary, Mohammed Abdul Salam, who spoke to Joy News, said though the EC claimed they had reinstated the names that were transferred from Tamale to Pusiga into their original polling centers, it is not a true reflection of a clean register.
The Electoral Commission continues to face criticisms from the NDC going into the December general elections. The party believes the commission is in bed with the governing New Patriotic Party and is bid to rig the election. Speaking in an interview in Tamale, the Northern Regional Secretary of the NDC, Mohammed Abdul Salam, said voter exhibition is meant to correct genuine omissions and errors, but what the EC did is an attempt to compromise the register.
The EC should have been quick in fishing out those who facilitated this transfer, but their posturing so far has been one trying to shroud and cover up the faces of the actual actors behind this crime. So thankfully, the police investigation is still ongoing. The police are trying to get the EC to produce the human beings who physically acted to do the transfers in their systems. So what is happening today is that they have sent back, purportedly, those who were transferred to their original stations. But as we have gone to check, some have been executed. Now, what is even more dangerous is for the EC to keep working with the number 38, which we reported. That's very bad, because as we said today, we have facts that the number has gone past 38, but those that they have reversed are only the cars that we produce for them. That goes to buttress the fact that they didn't do any internal check.
He said the NDC will continue to protest if their demands are not met after the 17th September demonstration.
That is why our national leadership is calling for an independent forensic audit. And if the EC wants to improve the public trust and confidence in them beyond 40%, okay, they need to open themselves up for scrutiny. If you are not a thief and somebody alleges that you harbor certain goods in your home which belongs to them, which you have stolen, in a police presence, you should be able to allow a search to see whether what they are claiming exists or not. So if the EC has nothing to hide, a forensic audit can only go to boost the public trust in their image. But at this rate of several errors, and they still standing their guards and grounds that there's absolutely nothing wrong, they will do everything perfectly. The register is fit for purpose. Exhibition is usually meant to, as if to say that it was just the exhibition on its own, nothing will happen. There's no way. Everybody across the world is watching.
And that's it for our election headquarters for you this morning. But on to our next story. And landlords and tenants can now settle accommodation-related issues online without having to be present at the rent control offices. This is being made possible by the operations of the Rent Control Department having gone digital. This initiative seeks to make the department's processes more efficient and effective, reduce costs and improve productivity. There's more in this report by Adobia Asari.
Rent Control Department under the Works and Housing Ministry, as part of measures to streamline its operations and enhance service delivery, has now gone digital. In the recent past, people used to queue from far and near to resolve rent-related issues as well as make enquiries on available rooms for rent in parts of Accra. But this situation is set to become a thing of the past because of the digitalization project. Speaking at the launch of the first phase of the digitalization project of the Rent Control Department, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Dr. Prince Amid Ama, said the initiative will save landlords and tenants from frustrations associated with accommodation issues as well as help them to reconcile on rent disputes.
The new system will allow, one, the landlords and tenants to interact with the department online, eliminating the need for in-person visits. Whether you need to register a property, or you want to file a complaint, or resolve a dispute, you will now be able to do so from the comfort of your home or office. Second is automated processes. Will support everything from registering properties to processing complaints, ensuring that every service is delivered efficiently.
On his part, Chief Director of the Works and Housing Ministry, Stephen Yao Osei, said the initiative will bridge the gap between the services of the department and landlords.
The core objectives of the projects are to, number one, automate the routine tasks of streamlining processes with the aim of reducing processing times for rent applications, complaints, and enquiries. It also to enable landlords and tenants to interact with the Rent Control Department from anywhere in the world.
The aim for digitalizing the Rent Control Department is to make renting accommodation accessible, efficient, and responsive.
Time now for our business updates. And the Bank of Ghana is challenging claims of dollar shortage on the market, which is fueling the cedi's depreciation. There is more in this report.
The Bank of Ghana described this news as very interesting. This is because most of the auction carried out over the past 3 months, commercial banks did not even take up the entire dollars that was on offer. Therefore, they are struggling to connect these complaints based on data available to the central bank. Sources close to the Bank of Ghana have told Joy Business that they have the required dollars to support the market. Therefore, there is no need for businesses to panic. According to the Bank of Ghana, the interbank market and rates being offered have fairly been stable over the past 3 months, and that should prove that it has always been on the market to meet the needs of the banks and businesses. The Bank of Ghana also argued that the increase in dollar supply in recent times is not due to the fact that there is shortage of dollars on the market, but rather a strategy to ensure that it meets the needs of businesses to finance some critical sectors of the economy.
Now, customers of defunct fund management firms could receive up to 50,000 cedis of outstanding claims in the coming days. This was captured in the statement released by the Securities and Exchange Commission on the status of the disbursement of the bailout funds. Now, reacting to the development, the aggrieved customers of defunct Black Shield Capital Management Limited, formerly Gold Coast Fund Management, has welcomed moves to commence payment of their locked-up funds, but say the money is inadequate. Charles Nyame is the convener of the aggrieved Black Shield customers.
Bank of Ghana described this news as very interesting. This is because most of the auction carried out over the past 3 months, commercial banks did not even take up the entire dollars that was on offer. Therefore, they are struggling to connect these complaints based on data available to the central bank. Sources close to the Bank of Ghana have told Joy Business that they have the required dollars to support the market. Therefore, there is no need for businesses to panic. According to the Bank of Ghana, the interbank market and rates being offered have fairly been stable over the past 3 months, and that should prove that It has always been on the market to meet the needs of the banks and businesses. The Bank of Ghana also argued that the increase in dollar supply in recent times is not due to the fact that there is shortage of dollars on the market, but rather a strategy to ensure that it meets the needs of businesses to finance some critical sectors of the economy.
And to cap off the entirety of the news, we leave you with our currency market, giving you the updates for today. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us for the news review. And right before I introduce my guests, let me make this big announcement. Joy News and an amalgam of professional bodies is organizing a public speaking event on the theme Transformed Individuals Transforming the World, a challenge for the religious community in Ghana. The speakers, Dr. Philip Engman, Dr. Mrs. Yvonne Yuenchiwa Eseku, Ambassador Umar Sanda Ahmed, Lieutenant Colonel retired, and the main speaker is Reverend Dr. Joseph Kofi Entry. The moderator for the event, our very own Philip Osebunsu, host of Ekosi Saying on Asempa FM. The date is 17 September 2024, time 6:30 p.m. Venue, British Council Hall. For more information, all you have to do is call this number, 0244 220 427, 0244 220 427. This event is powered by Joy News and Joy FM. Well, joining us for the news review this morning, we have from the MPP's end, William Ofosu Asante. He is parliamentary candidate, Tongu Constituency, and Julian Kobina. He is with the NDC's manifesto group, the spokesperson on youth development. Both of them join us this morning. Gentlemen, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
William and Julian.
Yeah.
I have friends with both names, so I was just telling them in a friendly manner before we came on air that it's going to be friendly but fiery since they are both new on the set. It's good to have you. Really good to have you.
Thank you very much.
We have a tradition here where we give our guests a bite-sized opportunity to share their thoughts on any pertinent issue of national scope, or even if it's international but you feel it has national dimensions, you can talk about them. You have about a minute and a half each. I'll start with you, William.
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners and viewers. Yes, so I'd like to take my bit to touch on the ongoing political exercise. I have realized that a lot of the time...
Which aspect of the exercise?
The parliamentary, to be precise, and even the presidential. I realized
so the filing of nominations?
I've already filed. I mean, I'm talking about the inclusiveness, I mean, the participation in the political activity. I realize that a lot of the time we don't look at the individual capacities of the people who are contesting for the various offices. We tend to look at the broad picture. So I am MPP, you are NDC, and the discussion is centered largely and primarily on our political affiliations rather than what we actually bring to bear. Don't forget, the political parties are made up of Ghanaians. Right. Therefore, if you get the right people with the right competences, then we can be sure that the bigger group is going to get better and the nation at large gets to benefit from the resources of the people. And so, yes, politically, I'd want to take the opportunity to throw the information and the education out there that if you were listening to me, you were a Ghanaian, you should be first a Ghanaian before a politician or before any political party member. And by that, you would mean well for the people. You would look into the aspirants, vet them, and see their fitness for purpose for the very offices they are aspiring for before you make your conclusion. Not based on emotions, not based on hearsay, not based on things that, you know, people have concocted or packaged by way of propaganda. And that is the only way that we can heal the nation, because the nation needs our attention. The nation needs our involvement in this ongoing political activity. I'll rest it there. Thank you. But right. I'd like to say that I'm here with Julian, who happens to be my school son from St. Peter's. I was the head boy. He was my SRC executive. So I was president. He was an executive as well. So this is the St. Peter's agenda. And therefore, I wish to put it out there that if you were Pescoba, you should be proud of yourself, because 2 of your sons or your boys are here.
Strangely, when you talk about PESCO, which is the school that my eldest brother, may his soul rest in peace, attended. So he's a Pescoba. And but the fondest memory, maybe not fondest, the first thing that came to mind when he said St. Peter's was, you remember a few years ago in the National Science and Math quiz, these Egyptians you see, you will see no more. And the Egyptians swept first cross.
But you know, I am safe because my batch, when I was head boy, we won the trophy. And so we did our part. He failed to do his part. So.
His year
didn't do their part. I did mine.
Shot fired. Then But anyway, the NSMQ is coming up in October, so we can look forward to more action. We'll see whether St. Peter's
But you know, in terms of consistency and form, St. Peter's has proven to be the...
I think if you wanted to talk about consistency and form, then please don't let the other years start their thing. We are tired of, you know, the other years and the Amanfo, I think, Prempe, right, talking about. But Julian, quickly on your thoughts.
So for many young people who are listening to us today, they didn't have the opportunity to join the struggle within Nkrumah to fight for our independence. In 2024, we have the most consequential election in our history as a country. At a time of rising unemployment, young people don't have jobs. Increased corruption has come to the forefront of our national governance. We are failing to even arrest the galamsey menace. All the litany of problems that this government has crept into our state construction program. Young people have the opportunity on 7 December to reset our country. And John Mahama is litigating a new regime, resetting our country to make sure the young people have got jobs so that we're able to fight corruption and have proper governance in our republic. For all the young people who are listening to me today and who have the privilege to come to their homes through your program, I want to urge you to join the struggle, campaign in your locality, in your polling station, because this election is our own revolution without a gun. It's a revolution to get jobs post the exit of this Akufo-Addo regime. And so campaign, galvanize, mobilize, make sure that you get involved in John Mahama's campaign, vote for the NDC's candidate on 7 December presidentially and also as your next MP, so that we can be able to redeem our country struggling from all the things we've seen in the last 7.5 years. It's very sad, and we hope that with John Mahama's presidency, we're able to fight for this country, make sure that you have jobs and you have a good government. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you for your thoughts. Usually we would have people from the sub-region watching us, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia. Today we have Juje Wongwe. He says, good morning, I'm following live from Liberia. It's good to have you, Juje. Thanks for joining the conversation. Well, I'll start with you, gentlemen. Now, basically what we do with the papers, I could have set the example by starting, but I just want you to know, and I'll start with you, actually, William. So you take a paper, you give us first the major headlines, just read them out to us, and then by which time you would have selected maybe 1, 2, or maximum 3 stories you want to get into, and then you get into them. So let's start with you with the Daily Guide newspaper.
Okay, so on the Daily Guide newspaper, I see the 2024 elections. Bawumia Mahama go neck to neck. And this story is on page 3.
Please go ahead.
Okay.
So give us the headlines, all the headlines.
Okay,
first of all.
sure. That's fine.
All the headlines. Just mention them out to us.
Okay, so it also states that Nana opens 40 million bitumen plant.
$40 million.
$40 million to be precise. Bitumen plant reads that the President Nana Akufo-Addo unveiling the plaque to inaugurate the African bitumen plant in Tema, with him are Robert Bugri Mambi, PM of Côte d'Ivoire, and Ni Ajete Agbo, the second, Tema Mankalu. And then it also says that NDC rebel leader arrested, and this is on page 6. There is a picture of Dr. George Ekufudampari. It also states that government sends police military to galamsey sites. Can I go ahead and read the inside later?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so on the 2024 elections, which states that Baumia Mahama go neck to neck, says the latest comprehensive scientific survey on the December 7th, 2024 elections put the flag bearer of the new patriotic party, Dr. Mahamadu Baumia, at par with former President John Mahama of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC. The survey results, which revealed a significant surge in the choice of Dr. Baumia, must be worrying for the opposition NDC, as it confirms the growing sentiments on the ground that the momentum has since June 2024 shifted from the NDC to the ruling MPP. The confidential document cited by Daily Guide was done by a University of Ghana team commissioned by one of Ghana's renowned political researchers, Dr. Isaac Owusu-Mensah, formerly of Conrad Adenauer Foundation and now Director of Research, Jubilee House. According to the survey, 46.3% of voters surveyed said they would vote for the MPP, while an equal 46.3% preferred the NDC. A significant 3% of voters remain undecided, while smaller parties and independent candidates shared 4.4% of the votes. The survey also revealed that the majority of voters, 80%, are unlikely to change their minds before the elections, making the undecided component crucial in determining the outcome. In June this year, a baseline survey conducted by Professor Smart Sapon, Director of Research and Innovation at the Kumasi Technical University, revealed that the NDC was the most preferred political party for election 2024, a topping with 38.8% against the MPP's 34.5%. The KSTU survey said the NDC was leading in popularity, as the political party respondents are likely to support in the coming elections at close of April 2024. But the latest survey shows that the MPP's approval ratings have jumped from 34.4% to 48% in just 4 months, putting it in a statistical dead heat with the front-runner party, the NDC, which also has 48%.
All right. Let me just make this point that you are not to read the entire story. Else the papers too. You know the papers must sell, right? Yeah, so we are not reading the entirety of the story, but we are getting into the salient matters, and then we take it from there.
That's fine.
I don't know whether you have a reaction. I have a lot to say, but do you have a reaction to that?
So you see, Julian, if there's any election that us, the NDC, has been very confident of reigning comfortably, is the 2024 election. We're doing our own internal polls.
Okay.
And the polls that John Mahama is very much ahead in the elections.
I remember the last time I spoke to Johnson Esiedun Ketia, your party's chairperson. He said if polls were conducted, that was a few months ago, about 2 months ago, that he would win by what? 50+%. He mentioned the percentage. I don't know whether he said 54 or something.
Yes.
We could check.
So the NDC...
I don't know whether that's the same figure you are getting.
Yeah, so the NDC has a research directorate at its head office. The research director's job is supposed to do polling, research on elections, and be able to predict what our party's campaign is doing out there. And what the research tells us, I mean, we also heard other credible opinion on the subject matter that John Mahama is very much ahead in the election. I mean, it's elections, so I mean, every other time and month you see that the momentum will be going up for the parties. The issues that come to the forefront of the elections always keep on changing. And these issues have a determination on how voters perceive the candidates in the elections. Now where we sit, we know that the NDC has a hold on what the next parliament will be. We have the majority in parliament, and John Mahama will scale through as our next president. That's not a debate at all. What actually our issue now is about how to make sure that the people that vote in the elections, their will is very much reflected at the polls. That's why we are doing everything possible to compel the Electoral Commission to do what is right by the Ghanaian people, to make sure that the electoral process is free and fair, and also the sovereignty of the nation will not be impeached by the people that are supposed to supervise the process. So you know that on the 17th of September, we are having a massive protest out there to make sure that the EC does what is right. And we know what the issues happening.
But the EC has responded to you and said that your claims are baseless, they are unfounded, and that it is ready to conduct free, fair elections in Ghana. In fact, the last time we heard from Ifeadonko, when she went to file her nomination, she was full of praise for Jean Mensah, the EC's chairperson.
So if you're going to
calling her daughter.
If you're going to ascertain what the EC is saying, we must first assess the credibility of the EC in time past. We know that this is, even in 2020, had to come out about 4 times the results of the election. They kept on changing it. In the last limited registration process, the EC came out with erroneous figures. It has to take the NDC to compel the EC to do.
Are you saying no previous EC has faltered on some of these?
4 times? 4 times?
No, that's not the question I asked. I didn't say 4 times. Are you saying that no previous EC, even going back to the days of Dr. Afarijan, has not faltered on any point?
I cannot recall any time that Afarijan came out with the results figure that was erroneous. But this EC in 2020, I mean, it is public news. There's information out there that the EC came out 4 figures to declare the results. We also know that the last limited registration process, what happened? The EC came out, the EC conducted a process to mop up registration for people that are 18 years and beyond to who are eligible to register. The EC that conducted the process came out with wrong figures. Had to take the NDC to compel them to ascertain the figures and correct it.
Okay.
Now, this is the tale of two individuals who won the process. In post the 2012 elections.
So please summarize so we can.
Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia said that there were about over 500,000 people on the register that were voted, right? And then the EC then under Charlotte Osei put up an independent committee.
The UN also sanctioned.
That's a proper governance system to make sure that they did an inquiry into the matter. Then there's a new EC chair who despises that kind of process, an open process. If you think actually the process is credible, why can't you subject it to an independent
All right, so
inquiry?
point made on that. I just want to ask you though, William, I don't know whether, and sometimes because I what do you call it? I like reading stories and get a bit fixated on words. I know some newspapers, obviously, it's like in the United States, Fox News, maybe CNN, and some claims that are made. But the story seems to belabor the point. It is comprehensive, scientific, and all of that. I found that interesting, but that's just by the by. It says it's a confidential document they have seen, right? And it's the director of research at the Jubilee House who is conducting this poll, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is he with the University of Ghana currently or not? Because I heard something about it first comes out with, I don't know whether it says Political Science Department or formally. Then it says Director of Research at the Jubilee House. Which is it? Is it an NPP survey or is it a Political Science Department survey? We need to clarify before we move on. What does it say?
No, so I would rather love to.
Okay, so if it's not, then let me continue before you come to.
Okay,
let me continue. Now, then it references Professor Sapong's survey as well of the KTU. I remember reading then, and the Daily Guide couldn't even, at the time, confirm for us reading whether he was a political scientist or a statistician, because there were figures, there were claims made on both fronts. And then if you read, I remember the Daily Graphic that day, it was categorical. In the Daily Guide, we couldn't really tell. All I will say is this. These surveys, I guess I've grown to, especially when they are not conducted. If a survey comes from the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana and I see certain credible names in there, I understand, because I'm a product of that department and I know what it does. But from some places, I take all of them with a pinch of salt, especially when they are tainted with politics. That's me. I don't know what your reactions are, then we can get into other stories.
Thank you very much. So the thing with scientific research is that everybody is at liberty to do their own research and to also contribute or add to the knowledge. What we see in the narrative is a two-part work where there was a baseline survey in the early part of the year which puts the MPP's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at some 34%.
You're talking of Professor Smart's own? Or which one?
Yes, Professor Smart.
Because Smart's own interestingly said that No, I'm just reminding you,
That's fine.
Smart's report back then, curiously, said that the NDC was the more popular party.
Yes.
But
yes,
Baumia, Dr. Baumia was the preferred candidate. And some people found that
Can I speak
rather,
to that?
I mean, if you know anything about
No, it's
researching,
okay. So you see, the thing with
it was
research
pretty
is that
interesting.
Ghana has almost become a dual-party state. And so people have their already entrenched positions in terms of their preference for a political party A or political party B. And so it is normal to have one political party at a particular time T to be more preferred to the other, which is okay. Statistically, what the research sought to do was to establish popularity of the political party, which is the special purpose vehicle on which a certain individual seeks to journey to power. And so it is not a misnomer. It is not out of the place to have people who have their preference for a political party A, high, but do not actually like the political leader of that particular movement or that particular party. Reason is that if you would go back to my earlier comment, so we have this tendency to box everything together into MPP and NDC. However, the leadership of both political parties would go to the largest extent, determine the vision, the direction and the policy initiative that this particular party would represent. And so, yes, people would prefer, in the Professor Swasapon's survey, people preferred the NDC as a political party more. For whatever reason, that will be established from the details of the research. We don't have it here. But the people of Ghana at the time preferred the candidature, the person of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, because in any case, he stands to represent the leadership of the MPP. However, the subsequent research has come to now establish something that we should take keen interest in.
Which subsequent research? This one?
This one, which is that the man has been able to successfully migrate from 34% to 48%. And
per this research?
Per this research. I'm speaking to this particular one. If you look around, what do you see? The man has made contact with the base of the nation. The man is out there seeking to interact with the people, which for me is the most important thing to do, because coming from an incumbent government, that is the one thing you would want to avoid.
Okay, point made on that. Because of time, we have limited time left. That is not corroborated by Global Info Analytics, which has been pretty spot on, both on parliamentary and presidential so far. But that's okay. Let's look into one of your papers. Is that the only story you want to do? Do you want to do any other story? If so, it must be very quick so that I go to Julian as well. Or is that okay for him? Julian, any story? Which paper is that?
The Finder newspaper.
So that's the new Finder. Just give us the headlines and then pick maybe one, maximum two stories. And that's
okay, so there's a Dr. Imona Adusako speaks about why stability is crucial for business growth in Ghana. Look, too many business people in our country are struggling because of how the CD is being beaten by the dollar. Especially those that are into importing their products. So if you are an importer, you have to now look for more CDs to be able to cover your import cover. I'll give you an analysis. For instance, if you were in 2016, if you imported, your import cover was about $10,000. It means that at a rate of 3.8, you are going to spend $10,000 and 3.8 CDs to be able to purchase your product. In 2024, you are going to spend about 17 CDs per dollar to do that. So people are struggling out there, and then it is actually affecting the business community a lot. It's unfortunate this government is doing nothing about that. They told us that the CD was arrested, but unfortunately for all, the CD has gone astray, and then our currency is very weak. And these are the things that we expect our government to be doing, to be responsible enough to be able to get us stability with our economy. Unfortunately, what we saw with our rising public debt has also affected how our economy is. So we hope that in the next government under John Mahama, we're able to, as John is saying, that we're going to have fiscal discipline in our economy to make sure that we have a proper economy and get business people to have a breather. And so that's the first concern that we have as for the business community. And then there's also a story about how cocoa price and says the export dropped by $700 million in the first half of 2024 with our cocoa sector. You know, our cocoa sector has also been a bastion for surviving our economy for a very long time. When we need to get forex, we're able to rely on cocoa board. And also under this regime, you know what's happening now. The cocoa board is very much broke. The agency is spending so much money, what they call government operation system. Farmers are struggling under this government with cocoa board. We hope, and even we've actually been avoided out to get access to capital from the capital market to be able to buy the seeds to sell in international markets, and all the lies that cocoa board came out with, which didn't reflect what the story actually there is out. So we hope that the managers of cocoa board do what is right. We need to probably arrest this galamsey miners. Too many cocoa trees are coming down, and when cocoa trees are coming down, it means that the number of acres we have for cocoa farmers are going to be.
I have a quick question for you. I think your point is made. The cocoa board seems to be operating a hybrid regime now. I think there was some talk from some elements that we had ended the cocoa syndicated loan, but they are saying that they're going to do it side by side, so sort of a bit of syndicated money, but then internally as well, we try to generate. For too long, I believe, have we relied on loans from abroad to see to our cocoa. What would a future NDC government do on that? Would you also work with a hybrid, as cocoa board seems to be adopting now? And they are not adopting it because they want to, they're adopting it because their hands are tied. And sometimes necessity makes you think. But what would be your approach?
They're actually adopting it because cocoa board has been plainly mismanaged. That's the fact of the case. So how did this come about? So first,
please be very brief on that. I just want to.
If you're going to borrow money from the capital market to be able to buy cocoa seeds, you must get a competitive rate so that you're able to make profit. You're able to get the margins to pay the farmers and also use part of the profits to invest into our country's government framework. When you borrow on the capital market for $100 and it is cheaper at a cheaper rate, it's better to borrow on the capital market, international capital market at a cheaper rate than doing domestic borrowing. That's the fact of on the capital market. So this cocoa board, because of how it's been run down, is not able to access the international capital market because they don't have the financing.
I think you're explaining to us what is happening. I was asking you what you would do, just briefly, and because of time is of the essence. What would you do?
So we must know where we are so that we know how to respond to that. What the NDC is going to do now is to make sure that we pump in more fertilizer and then increase the number of cultivated lands for cocoa in the next...
The cultivated lands are going. Galamseyers are buying the land.
John Mahama is going to arrest the galamsey miners, and he's saying out there he has a fine, great plan to arrest the galamsey miners.
That plan also includes, freeing, those who are in prison for galamsey and the rest.
So what is John Mahama saying? John Mahama is saying that we must provide alternative livelihoods for people in rural communities, those in the mining areas. So politicians and their kingpins, and sometimes foreigners, right? These guys are poor people. They don't have jobs because of how unemployment is on the rise under this regime, and they are used to, on their sites, right? So who do you blame? The politicians go scot-free, and the poor people who are afraid to go and come and help them.
Okay. So target those who are really culpable.
That's how you arrest.
I think the point is made. The point is made. Let me. You know what? I'll cede to you guys because I can go very quickly. So let's do your next paper. If apart from the Daily Guide, let's do the. Is it the Ghanaian Publisher?
Yes, it's a Ghanaian
So please give us the headlines first.
Okay, sure. So it says that Baumia's housing plan to partner private sector to address the gap. The Kufuor commissions $45 bitumen plant in Tema. Rent control department goes digital. Mahama vows to prosecute and jail illegal miners if elected.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd want to go back to the $45 million bitumen plants. And you see, this is something that the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo administration has done very well at. What he has sought to do is to add value to whatever we do in country, leading the industrial drive. So you see things like the One District, One Factory initiative, which has seen the coming into effect several factories and industries later across, even the Century Oil company which was inaugurated this year. So if you look at all the things...
We're not able to take care of tour, but, you know, Central is doing...
No, you see, that's a different...
We thank God for Central.
No, that's a different discussion altogether. If you look at how the world is evolving, it's gotten to the stage where the public is supposed to partner with the private entities in order to get the most out of them. So
it wasn't possible to partner to make talk stand on its feet. But I understand.
No, we can go into that discussion, but we don't have all the time to interrogate that. So if you look at how the MPP has functioned in the past 7 years, almost 8 years, and what His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia seeks to do, the industrial drive, the addition of value, so that now we have a gold refinery. Today we are able to produce our own bitumen. Today, His Excellency, under his leadership, has brought in DRE. What is he trying to do as a leader of a political party seeking to be given the mandate to lead the country? What he's seeking to do, in line with all the things we see, you know, around, is that he wants to add value to whatever we're able to do as a people, as a country. So when you see the commissioning of such things, let's not take it lightly. If you sit, we can't sit on air, however, to, you know, as it were, bastardize and run down state institutions as though they are alien. These are Ghanaian institutions, and therefore, any opportunity we get, let us seek to help them. You know, if you haven't sat in any of these formal meetings, you will not appreciate. You will think that everybody out there means wrong for the country, because nobody out there in MPP seeks to run down the country. What for?
Let me ask you something, just one question. Is galamsey a problem in this country?
Of course, galamsey is a problem.
Are members of the MPP involved in galamsey?
I am not able to say because I don't have any fact to back.
The Fourth Estate has named names. Hold for me. We know of Sir John, may his soul rest in peace. You don't talk ill of the dead, but we also know that he willed part of the Achimota forest out to certain people. We know that members of your party, including the Ashanti Regional Chairman Wuntumi. And it's interesting how these people don't come out to... It's basically ignored. On the Tano River, even recently, news file over the past week, Erastus Asaridonko, talking about it. The Fourth Estate has named names from Sampine, the very people who were standing a few months ago, Green Ghana, and the other very people. And I'll be talking about them in my blunt thoughts when I talk about ecocide, ecological genocide that we are doing. You're telling me that all the people in your party mean well for the country with some of these things they are doing. That's what you're telling me, right?
So you see, when we limit or narrow the discussion to all the people in your party, we seek to say that they are not Ghanaians. The galamsey menace should be discussed within the context of a national agenda.
Yeah, it should also be discussed within the context of those in power and what they are doing or failing to do.
No problem at all. It can equally be discussed within the context of when it first started. I remember in the year 2010 when I completed university, when galamsey was just now soaring.
Galamsey did not start in 2000.
No, I'm not saying it started in 2000. I'm saying it was now soaring. We're talking about the instances where Shamfan was introduced into this country. It was the NDC that was in power. Why didn't they stop it? You see, if we want to limit the discussion...
I like the way you're following the rhetoric of... Anodompre. Oh, they did it worse.
No, don't take me there. What I'm trying to say is...
I shouldn't take you there.
No.
I should leave you out.
Because that's not what I'm doing. Right. What I'm saying is that if you want us to limit the discussion to your party, then you are inviting the MPP to also come to establish that it started under this regime and it doesn't help.
Why do you think people voted out the NDC?
Hold on a second, for several reasons.
So I can hold you to your party because your party said you would deal with the menace. Your president, our president, your party's political leader put his presidency on the line. So I should hold your party responsible for how it is. Did you watch the news this morning? Fishermen are saying that they can't catch fish. And that fisherman was holding the president, his vice, the IGP, the commander, of the armed forces. I'm talking about the chief of defense staff. Accountable. What will you tell that fisherman?
So you see, this is exactly what I was coming to, that the discussion should be broadened. As we speak, if you ask me what my solution really is, I would say that if we really mean to cure this menace, let His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, His Excellency former President Mahama, all the parliamentary candidates, both MPP and NDC, these are the leading ones. Let them all line up. Let's put the questions to them. What do you intend to do? So that nobody gets to enjoy from the sensationalization of issues, because we are running, less than 3 months to election. so that these discussions can be held holistically and nationally for the benefit of everybody.
Thank you very much. Your point has to be made in 20 seconds.
I have a very quick response to that. So this is the MPP telling people that 6-month-old babies, teenagers, young people who don't have executive power must be equally blamed for the way the government had not been responsible in solving this galamsey maintenance. The MPP commissioned a committee chaired by Professor Frimpong Boakye. The report is out there. Frimpong Boakye indicted the government and said that the presidency was involved.
Okay, I think your time is up.
That report out there.
I think your point is made. Who was on the floor? Was it you?
I was.
Yeah. Okay, so
yes. So I was actually establishing that.
You have to wrap up on that. I'll let him do his final paper.
So if you ask me a summary, we should look for a leader who intends to help build the people, build our base in terms of strength, economic strength, industrial strength, all the other things. And therefore, what we see from everything we have read today points to the fact that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia takes the people of Ghana serious, and he's working himself tirelessly towards it, even to the point of meeting the people, the ordinary person, to hear them.
Sure. Let's take your final paper very quickly. Is there? Have you done your second paper?
No. I touched on the two when I spoke.
Okay, so briefly, maybe in about a minute, let's see what else you'd like to add.
So you see, there's something that my good friend William said. He said that the MPP means war, and the Ghanaian people should believe they mean war. So the people listening to us today must ask themselves, the $200 million PDS fraud that almost that made us lose our financing support for the MCA. The $100 million SML deal, the fraud, and all the American innovation fraud, and all the litany of fraud, the ambulance scandal and co. The people who were involved in the process, they didn't mean well for the public or not. This is money that could be used to build schools and provide industries. Look, what is the verdict out there? In 2016, at the exit of the John Mahama presidency, manufacturing was about 14%. That's what the statistics prove. Under this regime, the regime that says that is doing 1D, 1F, people out there in their districts, ask yourself, is there any factory that is functioning under this 1D, 1F? Manufacturing has nosed down. Is that and it's reflecting on an economy. That's why John Mahama says he's going to implement what he call the National Apprentice Program to make sure that we tool up skill development and get young people to be skilled up.
Thank you.
And so this MPP regime has nothing for the people of Ghana.
All right.
Failed miserably.
So the Daily Graphic newspaper this morning, trust EC for credible register. Deputy Chair assures political parties. The EC hasn't treated political parties and other stakeholders in the electoral system to trust the elections management body to deliver a credible electoral role for the 2024 general election. My only question, it's like that very famous saying, trust but verify. I trust, but I'd like to verify. Simple. I trust, but I'd like to verify. Me, for every process, and it's not targeting the EC, I have friends in the Electoral Commission, I have former lecturers there, I don't care. It's about, I can trust you, yes, as a person, but governance is not based on trust. Let's verify, do the right thing, be an open book, and that is all that is needed. We'll reopen discussions on handing over mission schools, that's according to Mahama. Rent Control launches digital platform to address loopholes. Sunyani East, history favors NPP. Fighting galamsey, marshal security to eliminate menace. That's according to the GPCC, urging government. And those are the stories I'll focus on. The Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council has urged the government to deploy the entire security network to clamp down on illegal mining, aka galamsey, across the country once and for all. The security operation, the ecumenical body said, should be well coordinated, but should be preceded by a massive educational campaign that could rope in all stakeholders in the catchment areas of illegal mining activities in the country. Edward Bauer, the Bongo legislator, came and sat here and said that we should treat galamsey like we treat armed robbery. Have you ever seen anybody really, whether, unlike what the politicians would do, court or something, I'm trying to pass back door, defend an armed robber. Sometimes people, there were times when they were shot to kill, or the police shot to kill. I feel if we get to that point, whether you're a politician, you're a saint, you're a sinner, you are a chief, and if we get to that point where we treat galamsey like armed robbery, and when you are caught, you are dealt with, I think that's the only way. This whole bit about Oh, national stakeholder education. Education, yes. But in the meantime, every day, the pollution we add to our water bodies, to our land, even to the airspace, because of the burning activities. How are we reversing that? I think we've got past the point where the talk shop is needed. On the back page of the Daily Graphic, President commissions $40 million African bitumen terminal. Then Republic Press, cocoa price hits the roof. I like how we sensationalize. 45% increase announced for 2024-2025 season. Ban now or suffer later. Religious leaders warn. I see Eastwood Anaba. I see Action Chapel. What's his name again?
Duncan Williams.
Duncan Williams. Yeah. And I see... I need help with that one as well. So can you help me with him? Dakiwood Mills. Dakiwood Mills. I don't know, for some reason this morning. They are out of my head. And that's the core. Ban now or suffer later. I agree with them. I agree with them. I know for the small-scale miners, for example, they are doing something. On that same page, small-scale miners go wild, burn galamsey equipment on River Mankraso in Ahafwano South. They are trying to protect their interests and say that, look, we are not illegal miners like the galamsey is. We are small-scale miners. We do the right thing. But even there, not all of them are doing the right thing. And it has been proven in the past. If what we need is for all of us to sacrifice and say, let's ban the whole thing, restructure, and then know specifically who is where. We can use geospatial equipment. We have satellite technology. We can feed into it and ensure that no one is doing anything anywhere.
Yes.
Then we can streamline and ensure that those who are doing the right thing are there. We are watching you. We are following. But until then, God help Ghana. The way we are politicizing this galamsey issue, it will come back to bite us hard. Even right now, well, let's be there and do NDC MPP. Hopefully it will help us. My guests this morning, our time is up. I'm grateful you could take the time to join us. Thank you so much. William Ofosu-Asante, MPP's parliamentary candidate, Tongu Constituency. Julian Kobna, NDC's manifesto spokesperson on youth development. I'll give you 20 seconds each. Wrap-up comments. Julian, this time you start.
Okay, so for all the things that young people face in the Republic now, John Mahama is promising you a national apprenticeship program. John Mahama is promising you a youth microcredit facility line to give you credit to start a business. He's promising you an Ejumara program that makes sure that you're able to start a business and get business advisory wherever you are. And so I'm asking young people out there to get involved in the Mahama campaign.
All right, thank you.
Mobilize and
get involved in the Mahama campaign. Yes.
All right, so thank you very much. I'd like to say that for the first time, we've seen His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He's taking Ghanaians seriously. He means...
For the first time, he's taking Ghanaians seriously.
Not for the first time, I'm saying that.
But that's what you said.
Please put my words in context. I said we are seeing a leader who has, at the campaign stage, taking Ghanaians very serious, because this is the most serious campaign I have seen since growing up. And therefore, Ghanaians should consider the person, the capabilities and the abilities of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud.
Thank you.
He is good for us. And of course, let the people of Tongu Constituency know that the young man William Ofosu-Asante is the best shot we need now.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, I'd also like to thank Zero Africa for decking me in this one more time. Always giving me wonderful outfits. Mudasiru and his team, they are producing wonderful outfits for men. If you'd like to reach out to them, you can just call 0557 029 138. 0557 029 138. On social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, they are reachable at SIRU-Africa. Check them out and let them fit you out with something spectacular. Well, that's how we cap off the news review this morning. But up next is Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. You want to stay for that.
We must find a way to control the influence of foreign television on domestic football. A lot of people who are not averse or who are ignorant to what is happening in the world would be opposed to it. I'll give you an example. I lived in the UK for many years, and my family, part of them are in the UK. And I'll tell you one thing, the UK, do you know you watch more English Premier League in Ghana than you would watch when you are in the UK?
True.
Why? Because there's no English football, EPL, on domestic free-to-air television.
Channels, yeah.
They won't sell the rights, the free-to-air rights in their country, but they will sell it abroad. What does it mean? He will not give it to his country, but he's giving it to you to take your audiences away from you. So you also have to react. Nigeria, for instance, has reacted. I had a discussion with Alhaji Shehu Diko, who was then the head of the Nigerian Football League for many years. I had a lot of discussions with him, and that helped him in putting forward this proposal where now in Nigeria, when you buy foreign content by law in the country, they put it before Parliament and Parliament passed it. By law, if you spend 100 cedis in buying foreign television rights, you have to spend 30% of that 100 cedis to buy local content. So that would help develop local football. Why must we take all the money from a continent that is supposed to be poor, give it to the foreign leagues, continue to make them rich, continue to dominate us in all spheres of life? Then we will focus our attention there and we'll kill ours here. There must be laws. They have laws to protect their industry. We must put in laws in this country to protect the industry in this country. Not only the industry, to protect jobs, to protect the youth and everything. Look, the other day I was doing CAF Champions League work here, and I looked at the production crew of about 60 people who are producing the matches. They have been put to work because of football, because of African football. I looked at the bars in Kumasi who had become bubbly because of of that match that I was part of organizing. They are in jobs. I looked at the hotels. Even in the production crew alone, a whole hotel was full. Look at the teams that would come. Look at the supporters that would travel and come. The hotel industry was bubbly. Talk about the taxi drivers. Talk about the nightclubs that would be booming that night. All of these things are industry that we must take seriously. We should not just take football as a child's play, as if, you know, we are doing maybe the sports industry a favor. It's a business, and it has got a local industry that thrives on it. We should look at it as a concept where we can grow things and make things happen. You know, I'm so frustrated a lot of times when I see people, they say, oh, we spent 600,000 on the blaster, and you are complaining. Go and see what the others are doing. Morocco is becoming Morocco. It's becoming known in the world today because of the money their country is spending. I think that we come from a concept where we have to expose a lot more people to what is happening globally so we can get to understand the impact of what we say. That does not mean that there shouldn't be accountability where monies are spent on be it national team, be it domestic leagues, and we must have strategies to protect our domestic leagues. Which strategies do we talk about? And I talk about this thing very, very passionately. When I was young and I used to enjoy Ghana football and still do, was because why? A lot of the footballers who were then playing, let's say, would be playing for Kotoko or Hearts or whichever club, had two jobs. They had one job with the country and another job playing for the teams. For the club. So they were not eager to leave the country. I was so sad this year when I saw that almost 10 Ghanaian players had left for Rwanda. Previously it was Ethiopia, Tanzania, Zambia, Sudan, stealing our players. Now, Kuwait. Now it is Rwanda taking players away until such a time that we go back to this concept. Because I say this, when a footballer sees that there's no life beyond the football is played, after 35 years, they don't earn so much because most of the teams, all the teams in Ghana today are owned by individuals. It is individuals that are funding, are paying for the kids of people, of Ghanaian youth, to become who they are. The state must support them. It must not be a one-man effort. Those days, when somebody is even playing in the domestic league, he's employed by the police, the army.
Yeah.
And Ali Jara, for instance, was employed by fire service.
Yeah.
So was Sam Johnson. A lot of them were employed by Bank of Ghana. All of these state agencies had some way, somehow, something to do with sports recruitment when they recruited every year.
There was Gapoha, there was New Plan Stars, there was Aquatex.
Exactly. So these are some of the things that we must go back to. Otherwise, we have no fighting chance.
But times have changed. Why would you say we should go back?
We should. No, I say
because companies these days no longer want to be heavily involved.
No. I'm saying state institutions.
State institutions, yes. For instance, we had Gapoha, which was that. Was it what? There was also Gihawk.
Yes.
Many of these companies,
they folded.
There was Power Stars.
Yes.
Electricity Company of Ghana.
Yes.
All these people, they've now folded. They don't want to invest in the game anymore.
They have to because they are state institutions, one. And a lot of them also recruit for their own good. They have their own organizational games. They recruit sports people. Part of the sports people must be recruited, must be some footballers, must be some athletes, must be some boxers, so that the player knows that, one, I'll get some salary from, let's say, if I'm playing, I work with the police, I'll get my salary from the police. Number one, I'll get some salary added on to maybe from Haas or Kotoko. Then finally, when I retire from football, I'll also have a full-time job to fall on and then have a pension. So I think that not only should government change its strategy, it must have a strategy for this. Otherwise, our domestic leagues will die and it will be on their heads. Then secondly, then secondly, we look at the concept. The footballers must also consider this. You want to go to Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya. With all due respect to these countries, though. Yes, with all due respect to them. They want to go there. After 2-3 seasons, they come back home and they don't want to play in the domestic leagues again. Few years, after some few years, you see them saying, they played for the national team and they are now poor. Because when you came back, you didn't want to play in the domestic league again. Number two, you didn't take the decision to want to be with one of the state agencies. So when you retire, you have a job to fall on. And even when you retire, for a footballer, you retire between 32, 35. From then up to the time God takes you away, let's say you turn 80, who would be looking after you? But when you have a job with the state agency, after you retire from active footballing life, you go back to your job. And after you retire from that job, you have a state pension to fall on. I think that footballers must reflect, our governments must also reflect, our sports ministers and the rest must also look towards this direction in a way that would help us change the trajectory and bring Ghana football to the top.
Have you put up some like a proposal kind of and submitted to people in authority to consider these things you are saying?
A few times, yes, I've shared some of these ideas, and I know that
verbally or written?
Verbally.
Okay.
But people have also written, thanks to some of these things I've said, people have also written that and presented it to government. Okay. And I hope that this thing is taken seriously.
Okay.
I don't care whether it's the MPP or the NDC, it must be done. It is a duty. It is not as if they are doing a favor. It is the duty of government to provide for the youth of this country, and they must do the needful to protect this industry that has got a trickle-down effect on jobs in the country and even stability of the country. If you have an idle youth, they will go on demonstrations. If you have an idle youth, they will go, doing things that are not supposed to be right. It is government's responsibility towards its youth. It is not a favor.
It is not a favor. I want to come back because the conversation
took a turn.
Yeah.
I'm coming back. At what point did you receive a call to come and work as communication director of the Ghana Football Association? And how was that moment like?
Well, I had received maybe 6-7 calls prior to me accepting. Yes, a lot of the times, 4 times by Randy Abe. On days he will visit London. I'll meet up with him. We'll have a conversation. Ibrahim, I think you should come back home. You've done your bit in the UK. I think you should make an impact back home. He made that overtures towards me maybe about 4 or 5 times. President Kwesi Nyantakyi also made overtures like that towards me maybe 2 or 3 times. And may his soul rest in peace, Jordan Anagbla also did that maybe twice when he meets me with Mr. Abu Sondoko, who I see as my senior brother. He will meet me and make these overtures towards me. And at a point in time, I felt that what they were saying made sense. After I felt I'd achieved or I'd seen everything I have to see at the BBC. Because after the 2010 World Cup, after I'd done the opening match and the final match of Africa's first World Cup, I thought...
Were you the commentator for this match?
Yes, I was the co-commentator.
The color commentator.
For these...
How many years did you work with the BBC?
Close to 9 years.
Eh?
Yeah.
Wow, they paid you well. You were making good money out of the BBC.
You know, Muftau, there's one thing that I did not look too much to, that is money. I had the passion to do the job. Even if I was given the opportunity to do the job for free, I would have done it. But I would have to say the money was good for me. It was good for my career. And most importantly, it was good for my learning experience.
Were you at the BBC when you set up Ghana Soccer Net?
Yes.
How did that come? How did the Ghana Soccer Net journey begin?
Well,
I'll come back to the FA.
Yes.
We need to talk about the FA.
You know, I was a duty editor on the website. So the duty editor means, you know, when, you know, it's a day, you become the one that commissions the story from all the correspondents across the continent. You edit the stories, you publish the stories and the rest. So I did that shift a lot of times. And I realized that there were many, many Ghanaian stories that were not making the online space. And at that same time, a lot of young Ghanaian journalists, sports journalists, were coming up to me, we need a job, we need to do this, we need to do that. And I thought that, look, I needed to plug the gap by creating an opportunity for young Ghanaian journalists to aspire. So I could teach them what I've learned. So I started it. You know, I started it on the eve of the 2008 African Cup of Nations being hosted in Ghana. It was commissioned, or it was launched by Emmanuel Adebayo in his house in London. And I remember clearly on the 24th of December 2007. So that was where it started, and it grew. Now it's a global brand.
It's a global brand.
I remember.
We heard that you've sold it.
No, I've not sold. I've sold part of it. We've sold.
You've sold shares
of it.
You know,
yes.
It's cool.
Oh. We've sold parts of it.
But you're about to share us a story. You say, I remember...
the owner of Right to Dream Academy.
Tom Vernon.
Tom Vernon. He called me one day and said, you know, Ibrahim, I've been thinking, do you know the number of journalists you have trained? A lot. Everywhere I go, somebody will say, oh, he trained me. I met someone in London. He was a journalist. He's a journalist. He met Rahman Osman in London at one of the events. He said, you are the right to dream of sports journalism in Ghana. And I reflected on it and I said, oh, that might be true, because if you look at the impact, you know, with humility, we've made on sports journalism generally, in the culture itself, from what news is covered, how news is covered, into developing the human resource itself and creating an industry around it, you would say that you've done a lot. I'm very, very proud to say today that there are a lot of thriving websites, news websites that have followed after our footsteps. There are lots of others who've gotten employed.
You've created many websites, though.
Yes, many. Ghana, Nigeria, everywhere. And I'm sure that...
You have websites in Nigeria as well?
Nigeria, Kenya.
Nigeria Soccer Net is your own?
Yes.
I see!
There's also Nigeria football, but Muftau, there's a lot more to come. I promise you.
There's Football Ghana, there's...
Kick-Off Ghana.
There's Ghana Guardian.
Yes, there are many. There are many. But the thing is that you find the need that there are lots of Ghanaian journalists who would not have the opportunity to work with the guys like you, Joy FM. Maybe they are not ready, maybe they are ready. But some of them can pass through our hands. They can come to Joy FM subsequently. Not only that, but some of them have become top people in the country. Your former editor, for instance, Ridwan Asante,
yes.
He was with us when we started from day one. In fact, he's part of the co-owners of Ghana Soccer Net.
Patrick Akoto.
Patrick Akoto, who was then the communications director of Mediema, is now with the Ghana Football Association. He's also with us. Aminu Shado was one of our journalists. Sheikh Tawfiq, and many, many, many others. Some of them have gone to TV3, FSIN, and co, and a lot of them. Even Sadiq Adams.
Yeah, yes. I remember.
All of them.
I remember at the point they even say you have hired me for. I am the only person you haven't hired. You haven't hired me.
I'll hire you soon. Joy FM, be warned.
That means that the money you are bringing, Kwesichu will have to.
Kwesichu will be ready. Because our muscles are getting stronger.
So I have to come back to the Ghana Football Association. How would you describe the journey with the Ghana Football Association?
I'll say number one, a great opportunity to work at that level. It gave me a new challenge for me to aspire to it, with lots of challenges because number one, at that time we came in, the internet had blown up already. There were more than 100 radio stations, and all radio stations have at least 2 sports shows a day. And for Ghana, sports means, and by the research I conducted, 99.7 of the content on Ghanaian media outfits, be it online, radio, or television, is football.
99.7?
Yes.
Joy FM?
Yes. Sports, so obviously the biases is there, but also, I also found out that at that same time, there was a growing number of merchant journalism. What I mean by merchant journalism is that, because Ghana had become so successful in football, there was a fight for who would lead the federation, whether directly or indirectly, and that created an opportunity for, some journalists to make it a career path of attacking, so they could make a name and all of that.
Are you suggesting that journalists chose a career path by attacking officials of the Ghana Football Association because they wanted to make a name?
I'm not saying all.
Some.
80% of the Ghanaian journalists then were very, very decent people who were committed to their work. But let me just be blunt and say the truth. One of your colleagues, Countryman Songo, had entirely built his career on attacking Kwesi Nyantechi or the Ghana Football Association. That's the truth.
But before, this is not really fair, because before Kwesi Nyantechi became the president of the Ghana Football Association, Countryman Songo was a journalist.
He was a journalist?
Countryman Songo was running commentary for Joy FM, for Love FM in Kumasi, and even until Asampa FM came into the space, Countryman Songo was one of the top-notch commentators in this country before Kwesi Nyantechi became president.
I disagree with you, Muftar, respectfully.
Maybe.
And I'll say, I'll tell you one thing.
This is not a Countryman Songo conversation.
No, it's not a Countryman Songo conversation, but let me put it on record that it was quite telling that your company had to go to court a lot of times because of him. How many times had Kwesi Chum gone to the chief imam at 4 a.m. to go and beg Kwesi Nyantechi to take away his cases out of court? That was how gory it was. So he made it a point to do a program that specifically attacked Kwesi Nyantechi, whether rightly or wrongly. And I think that that was a bad precedent for sports journalism in the country. It is right that officialdom are questioned, but it should not become a stock in trade.
Okay.
There must be balance. There's no way. You can be biased in journalism as long as you say, I am biased. You can't be.
Someone says he's biased. So why is it a problem?
He didn't say that. He claimed
he mustn't necessarily come out and tell the whole world that I am biased.
No. But journalism says you can be biased, but you must state it. So you come clean. But you will not say that.
He probably might have stated
who are there? When somebody disagree, you didn't feel like
he probably might have stated it, but you never heard him. He probably might have stated that he's biased, but you never heard him.
I heard him.
You did not hear him say he's biased. Does not mean that he never said that he's biased.
No. I listen to him regularly. I do media monitoring.
Hang on. Hang on, Sani. If you listen to the person religiously, as you say,
yes,
why would you continue to listen to someone religiously if the person is doing something biased against you?
Because I was then the director of communications of the Ghana Football
So you had interest in the content he was churning out,
yes,
so that you could use that to better the institution.
No. Not with him. With him, we always knew what we would get. But with people like you, with people. Lots of people, very, very decent people at Joy FM, at Asempa, for example.
I also wrote stories too.
Yes, exactly. But when you write the story, I don't take it personally, because I know that you won't be one-sided in your thought.
Yeah.
You would call to ask, what is your thought about this thing?
Yeah.
You won't be one-sided. And I appreciate that. I appreciate a lot of people. For instance, PJ Mose, he was tough, but he would call you for your side of the story. I appreciate somebody like Wallace, for example. He'll be tough, he'll be good on you when you do good, and he'll be tough on you when you go wayward. I appreciate that. But the fact that you make it a stock in trade, that even when you do well, he will say it's bad. An innocent, an innocent being like Kwesi Appiah, you call him respectful guy, somebody who's respected up and down this country, and you call him Nenche and all of that. It hurts. And for me, not only does it not hurt, but it also goes to the heart of what I say about journalism. Because at the end of the day, when I meet executives of the FA, for instance, what do they say? They are your people. And in truth, they are my people. Because it's my trade, it's my job. And at that time, it was also bringing me income. Because I made monies from my sports journalism. So if I saw something that was going to be negative towards my trade, I have all the right to call it out.
There was a point people actually said.
Ghana, it's been a few weeks. I know you missed my blunt thoughts, but I'm back from my leave and we move steam forward. We steam forward. Today, I've titled my blunt thoughts, Ecocide Alert, how government officials and unpatriotic citizens are turning Ghana into a barren wasteland. Ecocide Alert, how government officials and unpatriotic citizens are turning Ghana into a barren wasteland. I'm sure with that word, ecocide, some of you are asking, what is that? Ecocide refers to the destruction of the natural environment by deliberate or negligent human action. Their crime for people who commit this is nothing less than attempted ecocide. Now, ecocide is the destruction of the environment by humans, and it threatens all human populations who are dependent on natural resources for maintaining ecosystems and ensuring their ability to support future generations. This morning, Ghana 4, before I even get into my slides, I want us to reflect on where we are as a country, as a people. Ecocide, some would refer to it as ecological genocide. We are in the midst of ecological suicide. That's where we are going. We are killing our environment. And when your environment goes, what will you have left? Everybody that matters. And I'm talking of specific bodies. Even now, the churches are wading into it. The Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Pentecostal group, all of them are wading in. Yet, we are where we are. This morning, I want to say this. I think it's got to the point where we be more ferocious, even spiritually. And you may say, oh, on TV, maybe you shouldn't. You know what? Everybody, especially these politicians who are involved in galamsey, despoiling our land, our water bodies, even the air, because some of the burnings also go into the atmosphere. May a curse be upon them. Yes, all of them. They, their families, and their generations to come. If you read your Bible, you know very well that while everybody accepts blame for what they have done, so the children will not eat, or the elders will not eat sour grapes for the children's teeth to be set on edge. If you know your Bible, you know where I'm quoting from. But if these people who keep claiming, okay, for each one of them involved in galamsey, destroying the environment that is meant for them, for us, and for generations to come, may a curse be upon them, their families, and their descendants to come. May they reap where they have sown and destroy for future generations. May God look at it and give them the reward for that. Come with me. Now, in terms of politicians scrambling to mine in forest reserves, the same politicians you see lining up, Green Ghana, Bell, Green Ghana, green. They are the same ones here, per the fourth estate. Emmanuel Boache, Wasa East DCE. Chairman Wuntumi, some of them, they are tough nuts in it, you know. As for Akunta mining, it's been in, even recently, again, on the Tano River, Ethiopia, Owusu Echao, Dwaben parliamentary candidate, Ohene Jan, a lawyer, who also dabbles in a number of things, and Sampine, CEO of the KMA, all cited, not by me, by the fourth estate. Now, let's go on. Now, look at the forest reserves involved. There are a number of them. This is not an exhaustive list, right? The Odan Forest Reserve, Tano Nimri Forest Reserve, where, you know, Akunta mining has been very prominent. The Boyen Tano Forest, Tano Surround Forest Reserve, and it goes on and on. Even river forest reserves. Let's go to the next slide. But then you have, you know, the egregious aspect of all of this. When politicians misspeak, of course, they are misleaders. So when they misspeak, maybe it shouldn't surprise us. But someone like the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, I heard it and Charlie. Anyway, I was very happy when the minority leader challenged us that we will debate this matter and the culprit will be mentioned. You have had the opportunity to rule this country before. I can tell you, you polluted the water more than we have. You polluted the water more than, technically you should be using we have, not us. So let's get matters straight. It goes on. Next slide. That is what he had to say. Oh, but why are you being hard on us after all? Mukra muyebi. Hey, Ghana. You see why I'm cursing this morning? Do you see why? Because left to these politicians, and you see, what irks me is that politics is not bad. Go to other countries. Politics works. Go to Japan. Go to Norway. Go to different countries. Politics works. But our brand of politics and the breed of politicians we have, if we don't tame them, if we don't take out their fangs and their claws, they will destroy us. How many people in parliament? 275. How many members of the executive, ministers? Even some people in the judiciary. How many? Put that number together and look at the general population of Ghana. How many people? Holding us to ransom. You look at the galamsey in forest reserves, 34 forest reserves affected. 34. Do you know what this means? That's why I'm talking about ecocide. Many of you have never heard of it. Ecological genocide. That is what is happening. 34 forest reserves affected. Next slide. 60% of water bodies polluted in terms of these forest reserves. 60%. Are we mad? At what point do we stop? At what point do we say enough is enough? At what point does our greed become satisfied? At what point? When all of Ghana is destroyed, when we don't have water to drink, that's the only time we'll stop to think. I was in the Netherlands, and they can drink tap water, pure. Try that in Ghana. Next slide. Turbidity levels in the central region. The nephelometric turbidity unit, NTUs. Look at this. Even what we are talking about here was high. 2,000 NTU. Now, look at us here. 14,000 NTU. 600% higher. No wonder the Ghana Water Company Limited is producing at reduced levels. And we'll get there shortly. Next slide. If you look at the drop in nationwide water production, the Ghana Water Company Limited has been warning us. Maybe when it gets there, we'll start to think. 2022, the level was at 70%, 2024. And this is even 2022, how many years ago? When efforts were, we are 2024, 40% level. That is where we are. Let's sit down. MPP, NDC. Next slide. Now, what boggles my mind, I personally saw to this data and brought that. You know, the gold we are striving after and everything. Do you know the sad part? Even in Africa, oh yeah, we are the biggest producer of gold. Actually, if you look at in real terms, we are not. Because countries are sitting on gold. Even the USA, Russia, China, they are sitting on great gold deposits. They are not mining. Yeah, they are home praying, so let's mine. And it's because of the greed, especially of politicians. Because if you look at it technically, and you look at this list, Algeria has gold reserves, 173 tons. Libya, 146. Egypt, 126. South Africa, we like to rub shoulders senselessly. 125. Morocco, 22. Nigeria, 21. Nigeria, 21. Mauritius, 12. Where are we? 8.7. That's our reserve. Gold na ye fumuno. Sikakoko na ye fumuno. We are doing this with this puny amount of gold, destroying our entire environment because of this. And when it's gone, the consequences will be there for generations, 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 generations upon generations to come. If we are not wicked, like Prophet Odro will say, and maybe senseless, would we do this? Look at your reserves compared to others. They are sitting on theirs, because they're planning. You are in a hurry, spoiling everything. That is why I am issuing curses on our leaders today. Next slide. Now, the key voices raising the alarm on galamsey. Ghana Water Company Limited. CSE and Ethiopia. Ebahwa. Insuono. Obia beko koshe ebra. Ana boho no kra nhwe insuomba. We drink air. You drink. UTAG, Organized Labor, the Asante Hene, Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Christian Council and Catholic Bishops Conference, Peasant Farmers. Let's go to the next slide. And the demands? Simple. Declare a state of emergency. You say, oh, state of emergency. We are not saying declare a state of emergency in the whole country. After all, during COVID, didn't we do it? Even when we were milking the system to make all kinds of money from it. Didn't we do that one? In core areas where this is affecting all of us, but in those areas, we say lie, it is not there. Repeal LI 2462, and we know what that has done, and halt mining in forest reserves. How we got to the point where we now accept, let's go into mining forest reserves and mine there, only God knows. It is true. Only God knows the heart of man. Because if some of these people today doing this, how many years ago, if someone had said, oh, these people will act like this, who would have believed? Who would have believed? Seize and destroy illegal mining equipment. Provide sustainable employment alternatives. Let's go to the next slide. Now, the response from the Lands Ministry, and they always have such flowery responses. Mr. Jinapo, good morning to you. Reformative measures and strict enforcement will continue. So far, what has it yielded? RECSEC is mandated to intensify enforcement actions. National support is needed to protect the environment. Who is going to provide that support? Galamsey discourse should avoid political divisions. Yo, yate. See in the next slide. He also says, declaring a state of emergency, that is in the bosom of the president. But I find that being, forget about bosom of the president, but I find that being far-reaching, being a very draconian measure to take. There are people who have invested in responsible small-scale mining, who are mining responsibly, contributing to the national economy, and employing hundreds and thousands of Ghanaian youth who have committed no crime. Okay. Make we do that now. I say, if it will take a wholesale ban, not for long, so we can streamline and say, Asemesi is doing well. Asemesi, you are doing the wrong thing. But how can you even complain when today an ally has been passed for people to be able to mine in forest reserves? No sensible country, I said it, go and search, does that. But in Ghana, we do that because of greed. And like I keep saying, as has been said, there may come a time when the poor will have nothing else to eat but the rich. So go ahead. Continue to create wide disparities between the very poor and the very rich, the haves and the have-nots. That day, God forbid, when it comes, we'll see who suffers. We'll see whether the money you stashed underground, like we know some politicians have, in your basement and all of that, we'll see whether you can keep the money. I wonder whether they don't see what has happened in other African countries and how leaders, mighty, powerful, were drawn out like goats. Next slide. And he talks about, let's go to the next slide. Let's go to the next slide. Then finally, the NCCE on galamsey. Illegal mining is a direct existential threat to our environment, public health, and the prosperity of our country. The parties must articulate and spell out without equivocation how they will address this menace. That's my friend, Kathleen Addy. She's trying with the limited resources she has. But I'll say this, and I'll repeat. Maybe these politicians are doing what they are doing because, like, well, the running mate of the MPP said, even God sleeps at night. I would refer him to Psalms 121, verse 1. The one who watches over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. I guess maybe some people think God sleeps. Nyame wada. Omwada. Intino. They can do what they do. When, if you know any geography, you know that whenever it's night somewhere, it's always day in another part. So during which night does God sleep anyway? May God save our country. May he help us. Because where we are going, only he can touch the hearts of our leaders. And we ourselves, to stop being senseless, to stop being MPP NDC, and to take the mantle of saving our country. My name is Benjamin Akako. These are my blunt thoughts shared with you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. God bless Ghana and make her great and strong.
This is Mafe Kumasi, the commercial capital of the Central Tongu Constituency here in the Volta region. It also serves as the headquarters of Gari production in the country. There are thousands of market women in this Mafe Kumasi market, and so we want to find out from them the issues that will inform their votes in the 2024 elections. And so come with me as we go into the market to speak to ordinary people, to know their concerns, to find out the issues that will inform their vote.
Kafimia dakode. Ajabe watu agbado nemi la siem. Agbado mele miesio. Nemi vasi mela mia no totogbe. Ototo ano miedu. Tano mata wa agbado nemi mia no gomola. Mi no kwala ke dage pemo. Mia dako. Ta no la sese nemi. Mi agamia kwa plan wadu hafifia mi pe. Mi agbledelo mi la nyigba eji la siem. Le fukpa agbleme kula mi kwatrato na nlon nemi o. Mi le fukpa atike mi awuna gbla han azu agba fertilizer ha melu tape me la mi le kodago ta ajebi no won mo ne mi la mi oji ajeme mi adako na mi le kukumi be pate enue wa won mi ka fi mi oji ajeme re no va to asime gbadon ne mi onyo no 1 week ka fi mi no asifle legie 1 week mala edidi eta no va to asine mi ano to gbo chonde zado mi po trato ha na nro nu ne mi o bi po fertilizer ha bi he pepere ngma na wo pepere ngma na mi kwa mi oji aje mi adako no
ndi be na mi asichaga oba tu ase ne mi akpo no pe na chijaja la mi le no popo mo stage mele mi esio tanu manye mi ohenhio mi odede no no ahen la ase ma na zadola ofude ne mi no po melo adusi pe mele mi entio ngbegro la so bola ase ma ta pepere ngma mi ndi be no cho mi egbo na be pati keke pele mi entire mi akpo nkumene ma di mi le ma
Maraku ma fi kuma senye asi gande die. Asi lolo. Asi koma na miesio. Asi o ba bloni bi atu asi na mi mo tu asi na mi o. Corona vala o ba lo mi va tro agba to ma fukaka. Mi pe fula ma fukaka. Yete mi de America ya ba tu asi na mi ko mi onya no mi sugbo wu nchuo. No tu asi na mi la. Wo tu agba ho la ma. Na ko no ba si ma. Na ma jola apedara agba ho ma. Ana bi asi ha po ma la nwota. Tikiti ko la o la mi o ba tara tikiti mi ko ho we to ga la si ma. Dodo no na si enti. Asifia siama akamina senti dobo eta mi onyo no mi sugba wonchuo ameke never to asine mi onyo no kwa mi la yo malo. Market women here in the Mafekumase Central Market are making some few demands. Number one, they want shares provided for them here in the market because according to them they have no shares and so they are being compelled to do business under the sun, and so they are expecting any political party that would come to them to build sheds for them. Number two, they want some warehouses built so that gari and other goods like this can be kept in these warehouses as and when they need to go pick them to sell, they can do that. The third demand is that the market is very disorganized and they want all these political parties who be coming or vying for their vote to ensure that the market is rebuilt and then vehicles are able to move to and fro the market to enhance their business. And the fourth demand from them is that they need tractors to plow their farms so they can enhance their business. So any political party that can do this for them, they will vote for such a political party. And these have been their concern from the Mafekumase market here in the Central Tongu Constituency of the Volta region.
NDCO, NPPO, CPPO, Papa Uweo,
This is the Mafekumase Okada Riders Association station right in the middle of the road here. And so we want to find out from them what key challenges or what key issues would inform their vote going into the 2024 election. So tell us, what are the key issues for you?
Before we can vote for any party to come to power, our roads, first we are suffering from bad roads. When we get product from the farm, bringing it to the market becomes a problem. So we want the government to see to our roads and lights, water, sometimes a month, and then more than that, water. We suffer water a lot, so we want the government to see to it to us. What we want is we don't want any favoritism. We want everything to be done according so that we can vote for them.
As for me, I'm expecting them to give us good road, dams, and then the station. If you see the market, there is no station. The cars are parking in the market, there is no way the customers to go and sell their things. When you are coming with motor, you have to park the motor far away from the market. Sometimes you can park the motor, you buy the things before you get there, the motor is not there. They steal the motor. So we need a station for the market. And then our road, the roads to the village are not good. Our road to the village, especially here to Zongo, Mafikumanse, here to Agbajikope, Hongpo, those places, the road is not good. So the people are there, instead of the car to go and pick them, unless motor. So if it's raining, motor cannot go there, car cannot go there, the people are there suffering. So we want road, good road, and we want dam, water that we can drink. And these are the things, might ask for me, these are the things we need for them. For this election, they should give us what we want, and we vote for them. They should give us what we want. But what we are expecting, if we will not get it from them, no vote. This election, no vote.
For now, there are so many graduates, SHS graduates. I'm also I've graduated SHS 2021 till now. I'm not doing anything because it's lack of job, those things. There's no job that you enter fast and get anything. So that is a problem. So I acknowledge the government to the coming one, the one that will come in power to do that.
So many of the market women and men we've been speaking to here in the Mafik Kumasi market have been enumerating a number of concerns. One has to do with lack of space for these commercial vehicles to park. And so this is the way they park on the main road, causing huge traffic situation here. And so they expect the incoming administration, be it NPP or the NDC, to come up with a plan as to how this market would be redeveloped to ensure that these vehicles have proper places to park to enhance productivity amongst market women and men.
Welcome back. This is the AM show. We get into our big stories. That's constituency lens. And that's our focus this morning, with just 86 days until this year's general election. The race between parliamentary aspirants across the 275 constituencies of the country is intensifying. Constituents are making demands, expecting candidates to address their concerns. Now, this morning, our constituency lens is focusing on the Central Tongu constituency, where the two leading aspirants on the tickets of the MPP and the NDC clash over who has the expertise required to lead that constituency. If you are in that constituency, I'd love to hear from you this morning. But joining us in the studio for a debate, and I said debate, not slinging of unsavory words, are the parliamentary candidates for the MPP and the NDC. Godwin Ayikpa represents the MPP. Alexander Roosevelt Hotoje represents the NDC. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
It's good to have you join the conversation this morning. I'll ask both of you, when was the last time you were in Central Tongu? I'll start with you. Staikba.
Oh, I left Central Tongu this morning. I've been there throughout the week and last week.
You left this morning? So yeah, you left it at dawn?
Very, very, very early.
Sure. Okay. How is the constituency doing from where you sit?
We are doing well. I think on the part of MPP and on my own side, we are doing well, and then we are seeing a lot of signals coming from the constituents that they need a change, and the wind of change is blowing. We need a very dynamic representation in Parliament to represent the district, the constituents. So my constituents are giving me that hope, and I stand for them. I represent hope for the entire constituents.
Are there any good things that are happening in the constituency?
Yes, there are. There are a lot of projects that my government has done over the past 7 years, and there are more that are also going on, and there will be more that will be happening next year, from next year.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me come to you, Alexander. Yeah. You are contesting on the ticket of the NDC. When was the last time you were in Central Tongu?
I left Central Tongu 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Yeah. Okay, so both of you, within the last few days, you've been there in Central Tongu, the constituency. What do you see when you look at Central Tongu?
Oh,
as a constituency?
Oh, Central Tongu doesn't have any problem, except that we are.
It doesn't have any problem.
I mean, what I mean is when I say it doesn't have any problem, it doesn't mean problems that do not exist.
Right.
But as we speak, Central Tongu is very peaceful. Okay. We are just out of this flooding thing, and a lot of my constituents are grappling with some kind of difficulties as we speak, because they've lost a lot of their farm produce, they've lost a lot of their things, ornaments and everything, personal effects. They've lost them during the flood, and they are now getting out of it.
I see. Now, as someone who wants the vote of the people, I would ask you, in terms of the NDC's footprint in Central Tongu, and we all know that Central Tongu is a constituency that by and large has been won by the NDC. On the back of the flooding incident you speak of, Okudjato Ablakwa in North Tongu has done his own bit. South Tongu, their representative, has also been doing his bit. In Central Tongu, what are you doing? What is your team doing on the ground?
When the incident occurred, my team played a frontline role. Initially, getting food for the people was a bit difficult, but we came together and we organized something for them, after which we made a lot of noise. We appealed to benevolent organizations, and they all came into our aid, and they supplied a lot of foodstuff and everything to our people. What is left with, like I can say, is that there has not been any concerted effort by government to find out exactly what the people have lost in this flooding. So our people are still grappling with that difficulty. They are not able to pay their children's school fees. They are not able to pay for their health care and a lot of things because they've lost all that they have. Admittedly, they have started some projects. City TV is one. They are building some market and some residential areas for them. And then the Common Fund has also initiated some projects in 3 areas. 15 unit buildings or 15 unit blocks for 3 areas. And that is ongoing as we speak. We are told that Ministry of Works and Housing will be initiating a project for now, but that hasn't started. There are some small difficulties about land acquisition and other things, which the district chief executive and myself are handling as we speak. And we hope that if that is to come into being, then we'll also benefit.
How would you assess yourself as incumbent member of parliament in that constituency? And after you're done with that, I'll go to my other guest. And I pose the question from this end. If you look at the results from the last election in 2020, you would realize that you were bleeding about 2,000-3,000 votes. And here's what it means. While former President John Dramani Mahama was securing 32,573 votes, that is 88.59%, and President Akufo-Addo securing 3,951, that is 10.75%, and then the others also securing some votes. You were securing 30,818, less over, well, 2,000 thereabouts, 83.07% of the vote. And the MPP's candidate then, Raymond Ablebu, 5,944, about 16% of the votes. Some would say that means people felt more confident in the presidential candidate than in the parliamentary candidate. How do you feel about that?
Oh, that is not the case. Usually, I can assure you that in my first term, that was 2016, I was ahead of the president. But that doesn't speak well of you as a parliamentary.
It doesn't speak well of you.
Yeah, you need to.
Does it not show that you are working, you're on the ground? Some have said that means maybe the person is even doing so well that people prefer the person.
Let's not forget that you go through elections. You go through primaries. There are people who belong to your party and they were not comfortable that their candidate didn't win. And those people during the general elections, they vent their spleen on you. So if you see a parliamentary candidate securing a less vote than the presidential candidate, it doesn't necessarily mean that the parliamentary candidate is not wanted. It simply means that because of intra-party difficulties, some people decided to vent their spleen on the parliamentary candidate. But that doesn't mean I'm not on the ground. I am on the ground.
I see.
Yeah.
I don't know what your reactions are. Your predecessor secured about 5,000 plus votes. Yeah. It's almost like night and day if you look at the results. Yeah. What convinced you to want to step into the fray as far as Central Tongu is concerned, especially where your party is very weak?
Yeah, thank you very much. I will say that that is not an issue to me currently, because the people of Central Tongu have been neglected for far too long, and now everybody is now waking up, and MPP is getting more attractive because of our policies that would relieve the people and has been relieving the people of their economic.
You mentioned two things. Let me quickly pin you there. They've been neglected in what? And then you speak about policies. So tell me about the neglect. Where have they been neglected?
So for the past 32 years that we've been electing NDC MP to represent in Central Tongu, the constituency has nothing to show off. You go to every community.
The constituency has no schools?
We have schools.
No hospitals?
Schools are built by government.
Are there roads?
There are roads.
Yes, of course. There have been NDC governments too, have there not?
Yes. So
what are you saying?
I'm talking about the MP. As the MP who represents them, you need to be very innovative. You need to also be dynamic.
Does an MP construct roads?
He doesn't, but that's what they have promised the people. That's what they use. And when he came first, in 2016, that's what he told them, that he should be voted to be an MP, and he will come and help them develop their towns, build roads, build schools. And that's why he has failed abysmally. I have come in as somebody who has been a philanthropist. I've been doing a lot of philanthropic work since 2014, helping a lot of people in their farm production, in their schooling, in their businesses, in my own small way. So the people have realized that there is someone who can be a more dynamic MP for them, somebody who cares for them, somebody who represents the youth and has hope for the youth. So there's a wind of change that is blowing. So for me, I'm not looking at what the records were in 2020. The people have now seen that our MP has failed, and he has himself admitted that he has failed because his president is not, his party is not in power. That is the admission that he himself has been giving to the people. So the constituents are looking for somebody like me who would make changes in their lives. And based on what I have been doing and my policy, my visions that I outdoored to Central Tongu people on air at Dela FM, the local radio station, the people have realized that, yes, we need an impactful leader.
Tell us about those policies.
So I have 6 visions for Central Tongu. The flagship one is we are an agrarian community. We depend on farming, and cassava production is our main activity in terms of, that is a major one. So as an MP, I intend to use my own business connection and my connection outside to mobilize funds to establish what I call community-based farms for every community in Central Tongu, starting from the 108 communities in Central Tongu. My intention is to plow a minimum of 10 acres for each community, and we will go into cassava production. That will give us, every community, 70,000 Ghana cedi minimum if the cassava has been harvested and sold. And that is what I want to do as an MP for them. And that money becomes the money for the community to start using for their own development projects. That is the first and flagship program that I have for Central Tongu. Right. And the people are embracing it because there is no help and support coming from the MP for those who are farming. There is no help. If you go to every community now, the communities lack a lot of things. So the people see me to be someone who can bring change into their community, and that is the first. Secondly, I want to use this to make a case for Central Tongu. If I plow 10 acres for each community, which I have made preparation for, it means that in a year, Central Tongu would produce 1,080 acres of cassava. And that will make Central Tongu the hub for cassava production. And cassava is used for starch. So a lot of investors will now troop into Central Tongu to establish such factory, and that will give the youth also a lot of jobs. So I have a very bold vision that the people have embraced, and that's how they are calling for Kasola. Everywhere you go, they call Kasola. My MP, who is my brother, is no more popular there because he has failed abysmally.
Okay, all right. So a number of claims have been made. Let's start from the fact that he says you have already admitted your failure. Who has
admitted his failure?
I'm saying that he is suggesting that you have admitted your failure, and I'm trying to confirm whether you've admitted that.
How can I say I have failed? I have not failed. There are a lot of things going on in Central Tongu. As a member of parliament, there are a lot of things that I have done with Common Fund and with some other connections.
I see.
And they are there.
Tell us about some of them.
Yeah. When you move to education. As we speak now, I have procured dual and mono desks for a lot of our schools. How many schools? As we speak now, I have procured it for not less than 80 schools.
80 schools?
Yes. And as we speak now, we have a corridor in our place, which is called Avedo Corridor. Initially, they were moving from that place to Ajidoma to write their exams. And when the students get there, they are at the mercy of mosquitoes. So I saw that that was not right. So I approached WAEC for an examination center to be opened there. The one condition that WAEC gave me was that I should make sure that I procure examination furniture for them. And that I have done.
Okay.
That I have done. I have procured it. And from 2019, they've been writing exam in that particular corridor. And the results have improved. And the general result of the constituency has improved. Now, when you move from there, in education, we have 8 circuits. And I have realized that the circuit supervisors do not have motorbikes. They don't have means of mobility to visit the schools. Some have been depending upon their bicycles, and the places are distant. So what I did was that I made sure I procured motorbikes for all the circuit supervisors to do their work with. And you can just call and find out. As we speak, they are doing very well. I've also realized that the district director's bungalow was very, very dilapidated. So what I did was that I made sure I used part of my GET fund to renovate the district director's bungalow, furnish it very well for her. And she's also there comfortably now. Even when you come to the education office, the chairs that they are sitting on can cause death, because their sitting arrangement will not be open. So
that's education.
That is education.
Tell me about other
health.
aspects.
In the area of health, as I speak, I'm completing a clinic for the people of Mafikidikwe. Mafikidikwe is at the top of Mafikubasi. And what I have realized is that most of the time when people travel from that place, maybe just to check their BP, they are carried on motorbike and they come to Mafikubasi. As soon as they get down, some of them fall down and they get stroke. So I've realized that there is a need for us to have yes. So there is a need for us to have stroke there, to have clinic there. So I've started. Initially, it was my former MP who started. So I keep to continuing it, and I have almost finished it now. You can see it, even the pictures are here. I've realized that Mafikumase Health Center is one of the biggest health centers in the district. And I've seen that if you look at the catchment area, it's so vast that there's a need for us to have a resident doctor. I had a discussion with the Regional Health Directorate. They have agreed to give me a resident doctor for that place, because that is the only, that's the biggest health center to the district hospital.
Quick question. Do you have an Agenda 111 project in that area?
I don't have it. Because I have a district hospital already.
Okay. All right.
So
let's quickly.
So I have just put up a bungalow, a 3-bedroom bungalow, with its ancillary facilities for a resident doctor. As we speak, they have just finished with the plastering.
Okay.
And I'm building district medical store. What I have realized there too is that there are a lot of people, when they get snake bites, they don't easily get access to anti-snake venom and other important vaccines. So I felt that, look, let's have our own district medical store so that we have the cold chain in it. And anytime I thought there is something like that, they can just send motorbike to pick it up for use for the people. So as we speak, I'm building a district medical store that has reached a lintel level. And at the Jidoma Hospital too, I'm building patients care lodge at the Jidoma District Hospital. We just finished with the block work. And in my next term, I am sure of roofing it and putting it in shape for use.
Okay.
And then I've realized too that our people, because of more dam spillage in the 1960s, a lot of them have lost their livelihoods. And they all traveled to Bupe and others. And because of the onchocerciasis, a lot of them are back home.
Which is river blindness.
It's river blindness. And a lot of them are back home with eye problems. So as we speak, I have organized eye screening and surgery for my people.
Okay.
3 times.
So these are your claims to fame. Your
Yes.
claims to fame.
Yes.
You feel having done this, you have done well. I'll come back to you on the point of roads, and I'll come back to you on what your policies are. So when I say roads, I know you don't build roads as an MP, but how have you fared in terms of getting network development in your area? And then I'll come back to you for your policies. He says he's not a failure. He says he's done all of these things. If indeed these things have been done, why do you refer to him as a failure? Simply for political capital?
Yeah.
Not at all. Thank you very much. Most of the things he said he has done, to me, are the low-hanging fruits. Because even individuals like me have been doing those things when we're even not MPs.
It's good you brought that up. Just hold for me. I want to bring this up. I've noticed the trend, and you pointed to it, Godwin.
Yep.
That even before you get into parliament, you do all of these things, some of them costing a lot of money. How do you fund that?
Yeah,
I'm curious.
Yeah, for me, I can talk about myself. I'm a businessman. I do a lot of businesses.
What business do you do?
Yeah, I do business with MPs. He himself,
because
I'm into real estate.
Someone will say, I do galamsey, and it's business. So I want to know what business you do.
So I am into real estate land development. So
real estate and land development.
Yes, I have my own company, and I sell land to MPs, and most of them.
You sell land to MPs?
Yes, they buy. He knows. I used to come to his office when I go to...
Have you sold land to him?
Yeah, you were in the process. He has made allocation as a brother.
Yeah, this is getting interesting.
Yeah, he knows.
2 contenders are selling and buying.
He knows that I'm a businessman, and I do a lot of businesses as well.
Okay.
And I travel to the UK and to Germany to do a lot of business as well. So I'm a businessman, so I fund those things. You see,
so you're funding all of this from your
own pocket.
Not from anybody else.
I'm a philanthropist.
So what are the
for instance, he says that he buys or he has bought dual decks for schools. That's fine. And for me, I'll be doing that as well. I use my NGO, Educare Focus Initiative, and I provide library books, reading materials from outside the country and distribute to schools across the constituency. And I also buy quality, durable desks that I bring them from the UK. And I distribute to schools. Currently, I have applied for computers for schools. So as an individual, I have been doing that since 2015. But so if he is the MP and he mentions dual desks, which the DC Assembly through our DC have been providing, for me, even though he has done it, I don't have
At least some lobbying must be involved, right? But let me quickly ask. I'll come right back to you.
So those are cosmetics to me.
I'll come right back to you.
The people
let me ask
really
though,
in their communities need development.
Hold for me. Let me regulate this. When some schools like the Adidome Senior High School, Mafikumasi Senior High School, have they benefited from this?
They've benefited. During the...
But you said 80, right? 80 schools.
It's both basic and then secondary. I started from the secondary.
Okay, I just wanted clarity on that. I just wanted clarity on that.
On the ground.
Back to you, Godwin.
Okay, so if he says that he has done all these things, most of them, the major ones, have been done by our government. The District Assembly has championed that. He sometimes mentions projects that he claims he has done. Meanwhile, he wants to arrogate those projects to himself. And when our honorable DC challenged him to a debate on our local radio station, he failed to turn up. So for me, you can provide dual decks for schools. That's fine. I have been doing that when I'm not an MP. But the reality is that if you go to the communities,
they lack developments which you cannot provide. So that has been the perennial difficulty and challenges we have. And that's the reason why Central Tongu Constituency are calling for change. Right. I have decided to use my own business connection, my resources, to make a change in each community. Right. And that is what they are embracing.
All right. Hold for me, gentlemen. Let me bring in Mama Dede II, divisional queen of Mafi Adalekwe. I hope I pronounced it properly.
Yeah, Adalekwe.
Okay. Adalekwe.
Yeah, Adalekwe.
Okay. Adalekwe. Okay. She joins the conversation as well. You are via Zoom. Thank you so much, Mama Dede II, for joining the conversation. I hear you have some issues in respect of market women. Please explain to us what the issues are in the constituency as far as market women are concerned. Mama, you will have to unmute. There's an unmute button. Just press it so that when you talk, I can hear you. There's an unmute button. We'll work on that and get Mama back on the line. She's divisional queen of Mafi Adalekwe, so that we can have the conversation with her. I really want to hear what she has to say and what your response will be and how maybe futuristically we can address some of these. But let me come back to you.
You are giving me more time. You didn't allow me to. You didn't give me enough time to say.
To say what?
Yeah, to say some of the things I've also started doing.
I'll come back to you.
You're giving me a lot of time.
So, Mama Dede, yes. I'm regulating this, keeping my eye on time. So please let me do that. I can hear you now. Please, I don't know whether you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. I can hear you very clear and loud.
Right. So the MPP and NDC parliamentary candidates are in the studio. Tell us about the problems of market women.
Oh, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk. Yes, I'm Mama Dede, the second from Adalekwe, and I thank them both MP and the parliament. Fine. About the market women, we have a lot of problems. The women had a lot of problems to address, and you know, Mafi Kumasi is the biggest dairy processing unit or market when it comes in Ghana. People come from various regions to come and patronize. But we don't have shade, we don't have good roads, we don't have the market when it's Monday. In fact, it's cloudy, especially when it rains. That is the biggest problem we have. They don't have where to store their items. You know, Gary with water does not go. And this is our major problem. And other problems, in fact, when it comes to women, you know, we the women, we are more and we patronize markets more. So we are facing the problem more than the men. I would like to congratulate both parliamentary candidates. But please, I'll plead that if something can be done, if the government can come in and assist them to do something about the market for us, I'll be very glad, and our women will be so happy, because the lamentation is so much. The roads are not good. Though the MP, I will congratulate him. I'll congratulate them for doing a great job, like trying to amend the roads for us. But you know, they alone cannot do it unless the government come in to assist them. Some of them have to carry the gari on their head to the market. Some of them have to cross rivers. Some of them have to take motorbike and have accidents. Some of them have to go through a lot. Teenage women, teenage ladies have to be following the motorcycle people to carry them because they want to patronize the market. And at the end, they become pregnant because they have no option. These are all challenges. That is what I have to say about the market for now.
Okay, so shade for the market women. I'm talking, likely you are talking about stalls, proper places where they can get shade. Then Good roads.
They can get shade.
Good roads. When you mentioned the Gary production, Mama Dede, let's do this so that we can get the salient points. When you spoke of Gary production, is there any help they need in that regard?
Yes, please. They need a lot. They need a lot. Because when I said they need a lot, this is where we know the major crop we plant in Mafi is cassava. It's cassava, and cassava is the major crop they do, and that is what they do in processing the Gary. So we need machines, we need equipment that they can do to process the Gary. That Kumasi can export Gary equally, because if we are the largest, and I would say the biggest community that produce Gary in the whole nation, let me say, in whole Ghana, Kumasi is the biggest Gary processing community. And I would say we can equally export, and that will bring employment to the youth, to the women, to the men, and other people. My major concern is, yes, sir.
One. You can call me Ben, please. One last thing. I don't want to miss it in case the connection goes bad. Your MP.
Yeah.
How would you rate him? If I asked you to rate his work on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm talking about Honorable Alex. I'll get the other name. Gabi, as you know him. How would you rate him on a scale of 1 to 10? And how would you rate the work of Godwin, the MPP's candidate there? You are live on air. How would you rate your MP in terms of his performance? How would you rate the MPP's contender, Godwin? How would you rate them?
Uncle Ben, thank you so much. Mama Bebe will applaud both candidates. Yes, when it comes to our MP, he's doing well, but he has to put in more effort. Both of them, they are doing well. I will not say this or that, but both of them are doing well. And Gabi is doing well. I would like to congratulate him. Recently, he has made a good road from Mafi Kumasi to Mafi Adalekwe and beyond to Mafi Yokitipo and that. And I would like to applaud him and thank him for that good work done, because that is what I've lamented over and over. And he has done that and beyond. He has done a lot of that.
I see you are being tactical with your you are being tactical with your response. Which of them do you feel has done better? The one who is not yet MP, who wants to be MP, that is Godwin, or Alex, who is the incumbent MP? Which one do you think is doing better?
Godwin is doing very well, but since the MP has been on the throne for some time, he has done he has done his part. In fact, he needs the government support, and I'll rate him from 1 to 10. I'll rate him 1 to 7.
You'd rate him at 7. Okay, all right. 7. Mama, thank you so much for joining the conversation. I know I pushed you there, but we must get to the bottom of matters. Mama Dede II is divisional queen of Mafi Adalekwe. Interesting comments. The man claiming that I'm not giving him enough time, though I'm watching the time here. Godwin, what are your reactions to some of what she just said? Interestingly, she speaks about Gary production. She talks about the fact that Mafi Kumasi has the capacity to export Gary in her own terms. She talks about the marketplace, shade for them, or stalls. I don't know what the situation is, what specifically she'll be referring to. Good roads for them and all of that. What are your reactions?
Well, thank you very much. I thank her very much for her comments. I think with regards to the market, she's right. The market is not in any good shape. I visit there most of the time, and I see how the women suffer, especially when it rains. So with regards to the Gary, yes, that is true. But I am looking at a different approach. cassava can be used to produce starch, and that is also even more lucrative than gari. So I have my personal vision or plan to make our production of cassava very profitable, and that's what I wanted to do, to plow for every community.
What you told me about,
yes, what I told you, yes,
you know,
yes.
10 acres,
10
or
acres
did you say 10 acres?
Yeah, for each community.
For each community,
yes.
It will yield about 70,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
It sounds like a good idea.
It is not that it sounds, but it is a good idea, Ben.
Okay.
It is a good idea. I am using this to
Godwin,
actually fight the difficulties we have in our community.
Let's do this. If we are to go by politicians and what they say, and even your administration and what was said versus where we are, then you would understand why I'm going to probe you on that. Because if words necessarily translated or promises necessarily translated into actualization, Ghana will not be where it is.
But I disagree with you.
You can disagree.
Yes,
that's your opinion. I have my opinion.
My government has actually...
Would you allow us to have... Do you want a monologue or a dialogue?
Well,
Which one do you
I
want?
think because you are making a very...
Do you want a dialogue or a monologue?
Let's go on. Let's
All
go
right,
on.
thank you very much.
If I have the time, I'll react.
Now, you say these. It's one thing saying them. It's another thing actualizing. How much will this cost in terms of the equipment? And that is where the devil is. Sometimes our politicians say things, but what goes into the bottom, how it will work, is where, so we are convinced, but how does it work? How much are you thinking this will cost you, even in terms of machinery? Let's forget everything else. I'm not even talking about land and how the communities will manage them and how many people will be involved. Machinery. What type of machinery are you talking of? What is the cost per community?
So, Ben, I think you didn't understand my policy, the policy I mentioned. I said,
please explain.
I did not say that I'm giving my community machinery or equipment. We are into farming, and there is a lot of money in cassava production. An acre of cassava today, when sold, will give you a minimum of 7,000 Ghana cedis, 1 acre. So, I am planning that I will plow 10 acres for each community. And
how are you going to do the plowing?
Yes.
With what?
There are tractors that are
plowing, right?
Yes, no,
okay,
I'm not giving the tractors. I have made money available for that.
I understand.
Yes, so
how much
5,000
per acre?
It's 500 cedis per acre.
Per acre?
Yes.
How long is that, the tractor, 500 cedis, for how long will they, I mean?
For how long? I don't understand.
For what period are you paying 500 cedis for the use of the tractor?
For what period? When a tractor plows 1 acre, it could be 20 minutes. They take
okay, so it's one plowing of the 1 acre land.
That's it.
Okay,
so a community, right. I would have made provision for 5,000 cedis for each community, 108 communities, for them to plow 10 acres of land, for them to go into cassava production, and that will give them 70,000 cedis. I didn't say I'm coming to give you equipment. So you can do the calculation, 108 police station communities that we have. If I make provision for 5,000 to plow 10 acres for them, how much is it? That is...
So you said 108 communities,
yes.
Right? 5,000 cedis.
Yes, you can do the calculation.
That is by 10. So
yes.
10 acres, an acre costing 500 cedis for the tractor to plow once.
Good.
Right?
Yes.
Are there possibilities that maybe in some areas the tractor would need to plow more than once? Or once should be enough, per your estimate?
I am not looking at those details.
Okay.
You don't understand farming as the way we do it.
I want to correct.
If you are plowing 10 acres of land for a community,
it is good.
You can use only one tractor. I am ready to pay, and I also have my own tractor anyway.
Hold for me.
I'm making available 5,000 to plow 10 acres.
My grandfather was a cocoa farmer, so it is good. I don't understand farming, and you do. And it is also good that you are not paying attention to those details, according to your own words. But I want 5,000. Please hold for me, Alex. I'll give you enough time. Please.
All right, it is my time.
You are looking at 5,000 CDs, 108 communities.
Sure.
That gives you 540,000 CDs.
Yes.
And this is coming out of your pocket.
Yeah, from my own pocket.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, I'm coming back to you, Alex, because I did tell you, and I've not forgotten, that I'll ask you about your policies. He has said that his flagship policy is to do exactly what he has just explained. 10 community area, 5,000 cedis for the tractor to come and do their work. He is hoping that in each of these 10-acre communities, he's going to generate 70,000 cedis from cassava. And you can do the multiplier. How he's going to raise the 540,000, he says it's out of his pocket. What is your flagship policy? What are your policies?
Let me correct an impression before we move on. My brother is saying that we have 108 communities.
I didn't say community, I said police station communities.
Police station communities?
Yes.
The issue is this.
No, is it factual or not?
When you were speaking, I didn't allow him to interject you. Please, let him speak.
Thank you. We have some police stations that have as many as 10 communities under them. You understand?
But you must also understand the fact that he is saying he has done his division into 108 communities.
No,
whatever the case may be, whether it is electoral or whatever, he's saying he's targeting 108
What I mean to point out here is that if you are having 10 acres for each police station, you understand? There are police stations that have as many as 10 communities under them, very big ones, and there are some that have even 13. I'm just talking about the inadequacy of what you are going to do. You get me?
So you say there are how many?
We have 420 communities in Central Tongu.
420 communities. Okay.
You understand? That are grouped into polling stations.
Right.
And unfortunately, some of the communities go as many as
do all the communities produce cassava?
Virtually.
Virtually. Okay.
Yeah.
But what if he is saying what is within my strength?
Yes.
Is to target 108 communities. Maybe he's not saying I want to target all 420.
Yes.
Maybe he's saying I want to target only 100. That is what my strength is.
We are there to see it. Let's move on.
Bring your strength as well, and that's it.
What?
That's my strength to start with. Bring your strength as an MP.
I have been a member of parliament for the past 2 terms, ending my second term now. I follow because the MP doesn't have any ring-fenced statutory funds for development, because the MP is not a development agent.
Okay.
You understand?
So you know you are not a development agent,
yes.
But all of you, I see you going around promising a lot of the things you are promising. Knowing very well that especially if Alex,
I promise lobbying, I don't promise.
Hold for me. Especially if your government doesn't come to power, it's even more tricky because you know how our politics is.
Very good.
But all of you, NDCFP, go promising.
If I had promised my people, I would have been thrown out after the first term. I would have been thrown out after the first term because they measure whatever you have done before they vote for you. My people are not down the hills. They are not.
Let me ask you this. Our man on the ground, my very effective colleague, Carlos Carloni, who actually went to your constituency, he tells me that the people say they need tractors to plow their farms, and that those he spoke to are calling, that aspect is separate, are calling for a plant pool for Mafikumasi to be established in Mafikumasi so that farmers can go there and plow for them. What do you make of
that? This is exactly what my party has in its manifestos.
That is what you have in your manifesto. Is it your personal manifesto or
listen carefully.
The party's?
Listen carefully.
Just clarify for me.
Very good. My party is saying that we are going to have a plant pool. We are going to have farmers services center in each district, and there will be tractors put there, seeds and everything put there, other farming plants put there for farmers. So that anytime at all you are in need, it's a matter of getting your name onto the list. This is has applied for you. The plowing is done for you. Then you go ahead with your farming. You understand? That is what my party has. As an individual, I don't know where, maybe I don't know why I will come and stand before my people and tell them that, look, I am coming to buy you tractors. Where am I getting the money from? I say this because in our part of the world, we don't have any ring-fenced facility, any ring-fenced funds for MPs. That happens only in Kenya, where they are giving some amount of money to do their own development. But in Ghana, that is not. So if you are a member of parliament or you want to become a member of parliament and you go to promise people heavens, The issue has to do with where do you get the funding? Okay. My brother, if you are depending upon your lobbying, you don't have to say it. Because you can be successful in your lobbying or not. So you must be very fair to your people.
Right.
But just to promise heaven, because you want people to vote for you, I don't think my people are beyond that.
Right.
And it will not happen.
To move the conversation forward and to conclude, actually, because we have just about 4 minutes left. I'll start with you, Godwin. You want to be MP. It's a Herculean task if you look at the vote disparities between the MPP and the NDC. What is your message to the people of Central Tongu this morning? Why should they vote for you?
Thank you very much, Ben. My message,
and you can add any other final comments you have.
Sure. So before I go to your question, I think you made a point that as politicians, if you know you are just an agent of development, you cannot develop road or build roads. You don't go promising. And that's the reason why I'm not promising.
I said that if you know you are not.
You are not, yes, you are not. You don't go promising building roads and building schools for communities. And that's why I'm not going to promise any project. I want to use my business to make the people, the community, have that financial freedom, financial space, so that they can start or initiate their own development project. That's what I want to do. I want to use my business quality to make money for them so that they can, on their own, do anything they want. And that is the distinct difference between me and my brother, because when he came, he promised roads.
All right.
He promised schools.
All right.
That's what he did.
To talk about my manifesto. I never had any manifesto.
Please, let's
you have just asked him.
Don't
you shouldn't say things that.
No. You can respond to him when it's your turn.
Yes, I kept quiet when he was talking because he's my brother.
Your time is almost up.
Yes, so he's eating into my time. So you have just asked him what is his personal vision for Central Tongu. I have given my personal vision out of my own resources. I will do this. What you made reference to at the plant pool, it is in our manifesto. We started it, and we even started it. The MPP has started it with the drip project already. The drip. We have machinery that have been brought to every district. They are just copying. They cannot do it. But when you ask him as an MP, he has nothing personal to promise these people.
All right.
That he says.
Thank you.
I
asked you to speak to the people. You spent all your time talking about elaborating on what you've already done. Your final comments to the people.
My brother, there were comments that my brother made on this station.
It's for the people. If you choose to go there and I cut you, don't get upset.
Yeah, I want to tell my people that I have begun, and I'm doing a lot in the constituency. I want them to renew my mandate as they do. And I will do better. I have just started outlining some projects. And he said the NDC hasn't done anything in Central Tongu.
Of course.
He should come and tell me what MPP has done.
Well, we had a project here.
Let me tell you, my brother.
We had a project here.
Today, it is the NDC that brought the water project that we have in Central Tongu today.
It's not true.
The Strobad water.
It's not true.
It is NDC that got electricity to almost every hamlet in Central Tongu.
It is not true.
We are left.
It is not true, Ben.
Gentlemen, I am grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Those who joined, please. The conversation has ended. All right. So those who joined us for this conversation, as far as Central Tongu is concerned, Godwin, the conversation has ended, please. Those who joined the conversation, we had from the MPPs and Godwin Ayikpa, and from the NDCs and Alexander Roosevelt Hotoje. Both of them joined the conversation. Before we segue into our next conversation, let go of the overpriced land, home ownership, and furnishing deals. Get the best deals for all your housing needs in one place. Visit the EcoBank Joy News Mini Fair at the Good Park near Accra Mall from 13th September to 15th September 2024. The fair is open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily, and admission is free. Be there to engage various stakeholders in the housing value chain for your home ownership needs. So with the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, get a house, make it a home. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats, Rent to Own, and sponsored by Elegant Homes, where quality meets value. Safety and home solutions. You think of a door, we have it. Well, stay tuned. We'll be back on the AM show. Water, they say, is life. And right now we're going to be talking about community water and how critical it is to community development, particularly in deprived areas. The network of community water services is partnering some MMDAs to empower these local communities to effectively and financially manage their water systems. Joining us in the studio for a conversation on this, we have the Deputy CEO of NETCOAS, Nanekia Sewa Adade. She joins the conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you in the studio. Tell me, first of all, NETCOAS, this network, what's it all about?
Thank you very much for the question. NETCOAS is a private water utility company that mainly focuses on professionalizing and formalizing piped water systems in small towns in Ghana. So before we transformed into a private water utility service, we were operating as an NGO. So what we were doing was that we were providing assistance, technical assistance to these communities' pipe water systems through coaching and training, and we were also monitoring how they were implementing the recommendations we were giving to them. So we realized that the pace of progress or the development of these recommendations were very disappointing. So we got to know that transforming these piped water systems into formal entities was going to enhance the productivity of these systems. So in Ghana, there are about 1,000 piped water systems dotted across the country, with about 80% of them being managed by the communities themselves with assistance from the MMDAs. And this form of production or processes have been seen to be informal. So they have various problems and challenges they are facing. So NETCOAS is coming in to formalize and professionalize these systems, and also to mobilize repayable finance for investing into new and existing piped water systems in the communities. We also want to improve upon operational efficiency and creditworthiness of these small town piped water systems, and also pre-finance on-premise connections to expand connections to different households. So NETCOAS seeks to transform the piped water systems into more resilient and efficient entities.
I see. So if I asked you in a nutshell what your mission is, what would you say?
I would say our mission is to transform the piped water services in the communities into efficient and creditworthy entities. When I talk about creditworthy entities, it means the ability to receive financing or loans and then pay back.
I see. Now, this collaboration with the MMDAs and the community partnerships, how do you mean to execute this? How has it gone so far with NETCOAS?
Okay, so with the partnership with the MMDAs and communities, we leverage social capital and then local capital from local resources from the communities. So what we do is that in our operations, we have interactions with the MMDAs and the communities to work hand in hand with them. We have direct participation of the communities in our processes.
And you're hoping that this will address those challenges, right?
Yes, this is going to address those challenges because of the informal nature of the piped water systems in the communities. When there are problems, they are not able to, they have weak financial health. So I can give an example in a town in the northeast region. They had a piped water system produced for them, and after 5 days, the system collapsed because of a fault, and they went over 5 years without having access to piped water. So this was putting pressure on the people to walk long distance, especially women and children, to walk long distances to have access to piped water services. So when we come in, what we mean to do is that when there are faults or when there are, breakages, they don't have to take a very long time for them to be fixed. What we come in is that...
So the system will be more speedy, like you said, efficient.
Yes, very efficient, because we are going to improve upon the financial health of these water systems.
What is the motivation of NETCOAS in all of this? What is the bottom line for NETCOAS?
Okay, so what we know, water is an essential commodity. Yes, so we want to expand access of water to communities, or especially women and children, because when you look at these communities, because of the inadequate water services, there has various challenges on them, yes, and they are not able to have access to credits to be able to run their operations. But NETCOAS coming in is going to improve upon their credit worthiness. We are going to make them credit worthy to be able to have access to financing to manage the operations.
Now, there has been a traditional management system of these, community water sources and services and all of that. Recently, I was mentioning a few days ago, I was in the eastern region, and where I saw people getting water from, I'm sure most people wouldn't even give such water to their pets, but that is the water that these people were drinking. So I'd like to ask you then, in terms of this, what are you doing that is so different from what already has pertained in these communities traditionally in terms of managing water systems?
Okay, so what we are doing is that we are encouraging participation, direct participation of the community and then the MMDAs. Yes, that's what we are doing. We are actively involving them. And then also the management approach being used by the communities currently are seen as informal. Yes, so they are not really efficient. They are not making the processes efficient. But NETCOAS is going to transform this into a more formalized and professionalized way to make it more efficient and also actively involve the people into our operation.
If I asked you, what else sets your approach apart from the other systems we've known, what would you say? Apart from everything else you've told me, what else sets you apart as NETCOAS and this approach, collaborative approach with MMDAs and communities?
Okay, so what sets NETCOAS apart is that we expand access to households and we provide pre-financing for on-premise connections. Yes, so that's what sets us different from other.
Makes you different from others.
And we engage the communities directly with us. So we encourage their participation.
So for communities struggling with their pipe water or administering or managing their water systems, what should they do?
Okay, they should reach out to NETCOAS because we are capable of transforming their piped water systems into more professionalized and formalized systems, yes. Okay. And we are going to help them expand access to households and also make them credit-worthy. Yes, we are going to make them credit-worthy. As in when they are more professionalized, they are able to have access to loans and also have the ability to pay back. Yes.
All right. Naipia, do you have any final words for us?
Yes. So what I would say is that NETCOAS has come to transform the pipe water systems in Ghana. And currently there are a lot of them. There are about 8% of our population who rely on surface water, which is not the best. I mean, which is the worst form any person can have access to. So we are here to transform community piped water services by providing them with quality access to piped water services, and also to make them more professionalized and formalized. So if there's any community watching us who need assistance with their piped water services, they can reach out to us on our phone numbers 0240 654097, 0240 654097, or 050 548 2859, and we'll be glad to help them.
Well, Nanekia Yedasibibri, thank you for coming. That is Nanekia Sewa Adade, Deputy CEO of NETCOWAS, sharing her thoughts with us on how they want to effectively and efficiently, including financially, manage water systems in communities collaboratively with community members themselves and MMDAs. We take another breather. When we return, there's more action on the AM show. We'll be right back. This is the AM show. Welcome back. Now, the Energy Commission and the Ministry of Energy, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service and Ghana TVET Service, present the 5th edition of the Energy Commission's Senior High Schools Renewable Energy Challenge. This challenge aims at developing the research skills of senior high school students and promoting technological innovation in renewable energy. Competing fiercely in this thrilling competition are the following schools: Obuasi SHTS, St. James Seminary SHS, Ola Girls SHS, Ahantaman Girls SHS, Bando SHS, and Dabokba Technical Institute. Join us for the grand finale on Tuesday, the 8th of October 2024 at the Accra International Conference Center. You can catch the live broadcast on Joy News at 9 a.m. And those supporting this event: GIZ, Ashesi University, the French Development Agency, the VRA, and more. But now let's go on to our next conversation as we talk about the Ghana Stock Exchange and its testimonial campaign. Well, joining me in the studio to tell us all about it, we have the head of marketing and PR at the GSE, the Ghana Stock Exchange. I'm talking about Jerry Boakye Dankwa. We were just catching up on the last time we met and where we had met. Jerry, it's good to have you in the studio.
Thank you, Ben.
Right. Tell us about this, latest campaign that you are launching. What's it all about?
Okay, thank you, Ben. So, Ghana Stock Exchange has launched this testimonial campaign.
Right.
And what it seeks to do is to showcase the real-world benefits of listing through the voices.
That is on the stock exchange.
Yes, through the voices of the CEOs that have benefited from listing over the years. So most of the time, the companies tell their own stories. But this time around, we decided that we need to let the companies that have benefited from listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange to tell their own stories. And so you hear them talk about how listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange has really transformed their businesses, from increased visibility to making them more credible, and also having access to patient capital and improving their corporate governance structures. So we believe that hearing the stories of these companies will inspire and encourage other companies to take that decision to come and list on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Okay, so are these the objectives of this, latest bit? Are these the objectives of it?
Yes.
Those are the objectives?
Yes. So the objective actually is to highlight the success stories of companies that have listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And we believe that when other companies hear the success stories of these companies and how listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange has benefited them and transformed their businesses, they'll be inspired to also consider coming to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Okay, so that's what basically inspired you to do this. The success stories that have, taken place following listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange. But what then would you say is the impact that you anticipate this campaign will have? Because there are many more entities that obviously could list, but sometimes it's about how it's incentivized and what they see to be the benefits thereof. So what impact do you anticipate this drive will achieve?
Okay, so hearing the success stories of, MTN listing on the exchange, GCB Bank PLC, Ben's Oil Palm Plantation, Bayport Savings and Loans, raising corporate bonds on the exchange, and Intravenous Infusions, which is an indigenous company. Hearing their stories, I'm sure, will inspire others to also consider the possibility of listing. Now, we believe that this campaign will have a dual impact. First of all, hearing how, for the first time, these companies coming on the exchange and how their business have been transformed, we believe will inspire other companies to also consider listing. And then secondly, we believe that investors will also have confidence. Hearing the success stories of some of these companies listed on the exchange and how they are performing, investors will actually be inspired and they will also be encouraged to invest in some of these companies, hearing their success stories.
How will this testimonial campaign, fit into the Ghana Stock Exchange's broader strategy for promoting, stock market participation? In other countries, there's a certain category of entities that would want to get into that bracket. Others would be encouraged once they reach a certain cap. Others would look for investments to get on. What, for you, how does this fit into the broader picture for the Ghana Stock Exchange?
So, as part of our key strategies, we want to ensure that there's full market participation. So one of the objectives of this
full market participation.
Yes, one of the objectives of this campaign is to actually encourage full market participation and then educate the public about the benefits of listing, demystifying the entire listing process, and educating more people to understand what companies stand to gain when they come onto the stock exchange. So we believe that embarking on this campaign will actually generate the needed interest and attention that will inspire other companies to consider coming to list on the exchange. And I'm sure, Ben, you know that the critical role that exchanges play globally. If you take the New York Stock Exchange, which is over 232 years, you take London Stock Exchange, which is over 223 years, all these exchanges over the years have provided a platform of bringing investors and companies that need capital together. That's actually the critical role of the exchange. We have, on one side, companies that need money to expand and grow and scale up. Then on the other side, we have investors who are looking for opportunities to invest their money and then get some returns. So the exchange provides this platform, and that is what has helped a lot of some of the developed countries to grow, because they provide a platform where companies had access to capital, and they use these monies to expand and grow their companies, and eventually creating employment and driving and fueling the growth of these countries. So that's the critical role that the stock exchange plays, and that is why everybody must come on board to support the Ghana Stock Exchange to grow.
Now, since you're touching on growth, the Ghana Stock Exchange is known to be one of the most vibrant on the continent of Africa, though comparatively, we are pretty small if you compare to South Africa, Nigeria, maybe even Egypt and other countries. We are small, but we are known to be one of the biggest. Is there a growth strategy? What initiatives are you bringing to bear to achieve the sort of growth you are looking for?
Okay. One of the things that actually drive the growth of exchanges is when you introduce a lot of products to provide investors and then companies with a lot of options. So for the past 3 years, we have been very aggressive with the launching of a number of initiatives. For instance, last year, we got certified by ISO for business continuity, systems management, and then information security.
That tells you that
we take information management seriously, because of the kind of information that come to our space, and the fact that we also have controls to make sure that in case there are any business interruptions, we'll continue to run the business. So all these are positive. We also launched the green bond rules. Okay. So what it means is that now companies in Ghana, outside Ghana, can list green bonds on the Ghana Stock Exchange, what we call the Ghana Fixed Income Market. They can list social bonds, they can list gender bonds, and all those sustainability bonds can actually be listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange now, because the world is going sustainable, and so we have provided a platform for these bonds to be listed. We also launched what we call ESG disclosure guidance manual. What this manual seeks to do is to provide a platform for listed companies and companies that are not listed to actually do sustainability reporting and embrace ESG initiatives. I'm sure we know that now the world over, companies are expected to make sure that they are taking care of the environment, their business activities are impacting the environment positively,
right.
They are helping fight climate change, and also their activities are also helping to impact society, and their corporate governance structures are also solid. So this platform is actually an opportunity for listed and companies that are not listed to start sustainability reporting and also to embrace ESG. We also launched commercial paper market this year to provide a platform for companies to be able to raise short-term capital to address their short-term liquidity needs. This same year, we have also launched the over-the-counter market. Ben, you know, there are some companies...
You've been pretty active, haven't you?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
You know, there are some companies that are public companies, but they are not listed. But we have shareholders there who look for opportunity to sell and buy shares and all that. So the OTC market provides a platform where these shareholders can buy and sell their shares, even though they are not listed. We have also been very busy engaging the Ministry of Public Enterprises, the Ministry of Finance, and then State Interest Governance Authority to get some viable state-owned entities to list on the exchange. And I'm sure you heard recently of Graphics' intention to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Indeed.
So we have been very busy, and not also forgetting the fact that we also have partners who have also introduced digital trading platforms, digital investment platforms. The world is going digital. So these platforms are platforms that people can use to buy and share, and sell shares. So we know the digital space too, we are also not leaving ourselves out. We are also really driving it very hard.
Looks like a hub of activity, the Ghana Stock Exchange. We're grateful for your time. Jerry Boache-Dankwa, Head of Marketing and PR at the Ghana Stock Exchange. Thank you so much for the great work you're doing, and thanks for joining us for this conversation. We'll be back with more as we also contemplate the Association of Ghana Industries. Stay with us. We'll be back. And the last confab we're having on the show this morning has to do with the Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition 2024. And of course, the Association of Ghana Industries is right here in the studio with us to have a discussion on that. Our very own Seth Chum Akwabwa joins the conversation. He's CEO of the Association of Ghana Industries. A very good morning to you, sir.
Very good morning too.
Today you've decided to come into the studio, pay us a visit.
I've always been doing that. Yeah.
It's a pleasure having you. Let's start with this summit, the Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition, and what the motivation is, what the driving force is behind it, especially in the context of this year.
So thank you very much. As you know, AGI is the main industrial organization, and over the years, we've been organizing these exhibitions. I don't know if you recall, way back in the late 90s, we used to have the Industry and Technology Fair, Indotech. It was a very popular fair.
Also brings to mind the trade fair.
Yes. Yeah, you know, in fact, it's a fair that developed the whole trade fair center. And it was organized by the Association of Ghana Industries, together with the Ministry of Trade and other partners. And we've carried on with it all these years. Along the line, it faded out a bit. And when we discovered the oil, we started another program called the Local Content Exhibition and Conference. We worked on it for a couple of times, and then Petroleum Commission was established. We were part of the Petroleum Commission when it was established, so we thought that they were in the right position to handle it. So since then, they've been organizing it. And then we turned into the Industrial Summit. So for the past 13 years, we've been consistently doing the Industrial Summit. And basically, the idea is to bring the industry players together. You know, for AGI, our focus is on industry and manufacturing, and therefore, any effort to promote that is of essence to us. In this year's program in particular, we are devoting it to the value chains. So the key thing is that, you know how, when you talk of manufacturing, it's the strength of value addition that makes the manufacturing. You can just scratch the surface, just package and you say you are manufacturing. That's not what we need, because if you don't add much value, You don't employ many people, technology-wise, you don't do much. So the whole idea is that if we are talking industrialization, then it should be deeper than we are thinking. And therefore, we should look at the entire value chain. And that means that so many things must connect. Because for you to have a competitive product in terms of pricing and quality in the market, then so many things must work. Right from the raw material stage, it must be produced on competitive grounds. And then transportation and logistics to move to the factory level must also be efficient, and that must connect. And then when it's produced, the packaging that goes with it, the marketing, and all the other services that goes with it, the banking and the enablers such as electricity and different elements of it that makes the product a whole. So the idea here is that for this year, let's devote the whole program to value chain development. It means that the key elements in manufacturing and industry should be identified. Right. And all those players must be there, and we see how we connect them to help reduce the cost of production and then make the product more competitive and then capture a good share of the market. So that's basically what the whole theme is about. Right.
Mr. Chumakabwa, tell us about the theme for this year and why businesses should even attend the summit.
Good. So the theme for this year, as I said, is promoting value chains for competitive industrial development. And basically the idea is that each of the chain has players, and each player must connect. So if you are a producer of raw materials, you must have off-taker, who are the industry. Exactly. Partners. So you must be there. And then if you're a manufacturer, you need the suppliers of inputs. You must be there. If you're a transporter, service provider, you must be there because the linkage between the two play a role. After the goods are produced, there are packaging companies who are also supplying inputs as packaging materials to the manufacturers. You must also be there. And then the marketers. You know, AGI, we have different members. We have Advertiser Association as members of AGI. We have marketing companies. We have lawyers. We have several institutions that are playing a role. So all these various institutions have to be there and connect. And you know, when you create such a huge platform, you have a lot of participants. We have exhibitors. We have conference participants. And when you come, you connect. You are networking. You are identifying opportunities. And as an industrial player, you must always be in such a place. Now, the thing is that we are not only looking at the exhibition aspect, we're also looking at the conference. In the conference, we discuss very interesting topics that are of importance. You know, AGI, we are a leading advocacy organization in Ghana, and we are bringing ministers, we are bringing government officials, we are bringing other partners who are playing a key role in the business environment. So when you bring your issues and they listen to you, sometimes you can get access, you can get information about opportunities in the system that you are not aware of. So for businesses, it's of interest for you to come and listen, come and connect, know the opportunities that are available, and know who to contact and all that. So it's a very big platform, and we encourage companies to be there.
All right. Let's get some further details into this event. Who are the speakers? What topics will they be addressing? Would you like to acknowledge some sponsors on this?
Okay, so for partners, it has gone beyond AGI. AGI is the key organizer, but we always partner Ministry of Trade and Industry, so it's our #1 partner. But besides that, there are also some partners who have consistently been with us. The European Union is key. They have a lot of interest because there are a lot of European businesses that are in Ghana, and they coordinate their activity in terms of advocacy and all that, so they play with us. They are a key partner. VRA, since we started, has always been part of us. People are wondering, energy, but energy is key to industry. Exactly. But apart from that, they also do a lot in the value chains. We believe the volume of procurement that VRA does, if you're able to produce all of them here, it's a major industrial boost to the Ghanaian industry. So they have always been partners. We also have MTN as members, and they are members of AGI, and they are partners in this year's exhibition, because they are promoting SMEs, and they have all kinds of digital solutions for SMEs. They are a key part of it. AGI, we also focus a lot on small enterprise development. So Ghana Enterprise Agency, through the MasterCard Foundation support, are part of this, and they are bringing a lot of enterprises. We have been transporting a number of enterprises from the north to come and showcase some small things they are doing, which people should show interest. So these are the key partners. But beyond the key partners, we also have sponsors. And the sponsors includes various companies that are, and then organizations that are helping us. We have Plan International, we have Ghana Stock Exchange, we have Ghana Shippers Authority. UNIDO has a project called OneCom that are part of it. McGill University supports the pitch competition, and I'll come to the topics. And ITC, International Trade Center, is with us, GIZ, and we also have media partners, and interestingly, Joy is one of them. You've always been part of this and supporting us, and we appreciate it very much. Right. Graphic, Business Financial Times, City Business, and others. Now, in terms of the speakers and the topics, we have...
So briefly on that, for the sake of time.
Yes, we have a lineup of different... Tuesday will be the opening ceremony. The Minister for Trade and Industry will be there to open it for us. The Chief Director of...
K.T. Amon
will be there. He's a good friend. We have Mr. David Ofosu-Dorte, a very good speaker. Dr. Farid Atta from the ASCFTA office. We have programs relating to agribusiness. So the agribusiness CEO for Agribusiness Chamber will be there. Dennis Kobe of FAGE will be there. Brando Poku will also be there. Then we also have another session devoted to critical manufacturing value chains. So the automobile industry, there will be speakers around it. There will be textiles, a speaker on textiles and pharmaceuticals. So all these speakers will be there. Then the second day, we also have a special day for the EU. Right. EU has its own program, and a lot of businesses are encouraged and invited to be there and interact with the EU businesses. And in the evening of that day, we have a cocktail that is also bringing businesses together for networking. The third day, we have a very important program as well. We call it the Energy Day. So VRA is leading that day. And the Minister for Energy will be there to open that session for us. We have the VRA Chief Executive speaking. Nuclear Power Ghana is also a key part of it. And it will interest you to know, nuclear power, for example, we've signed an agreement already with the US companies, and next year we're going to start some production. And a lot of opportunities in there, and people need to know. And finally, we have a pitch competition for small enterprises, and McGill University supports that.
All right. Just remind us of the date and where this is happening, and then we can cap off the conversation.
Yeah, so the date is 17th to 19th September, which is just next week, Tuesday to Thursday, and it's taking place at the Accra International Conference Center.
Okay.
And,
what time?
Yes, it's starting in the morning at 9 o'clock every day and ends around 5 p.m. But the exhibition floor, everywhere is actually free of charge. Okay. You can come to the exhibition floor and interact with exhibitors and interact with people and make good business.
All right. Seth Chum Akwabwa is the CEO of the Association of Ghana Industries, Yadase. Thank you so much for having joined the conversation. But a very happy birthday to Christopher Agau. He is with the camera department here at the Multimedia Group Limited. Christopher, happy birthday to you. We celebrate you and the good work you do. But before we go today, let me also, before we get to our photo of the day, let me one more time celebrate Mudasiru of Siru Clothing, who on Fridays decks me out. If you love what you see, just reach out to him on the number 0557 029 138. 0557 029 138. Or on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Siru-Africa. That is SIRU-Africa. And you will be met with some fantastic styles at very moderate cost. So check him out as well. Let's take our photo of the day before we take leave of you. And we are delving into the political terrain. So there you have it, the photo of the day. And why are we bringing you this today? Well, you have to innovate, right? If you want to catch the attention of the people, you have to reach them. You have to use different means. And this person decided to use, I don't know whether it's a ride-hailing service or a private vehicle, but there it is. And he's going around, and wherever he passes, you will see the candidate. So innovation in politics. That's our photo of the day for you today. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Thank you for blessing our week with your presence. Let's look forward to another week of scintillating content. But for now, we leave you in the hands of Faustina Safo and her team. Joy News Desk is up next.